Welcome back to Lawrence, where just a week ago, home opener for the Jayhawks. It was in the low 90s, sunny. It was baseball weather. It wasn't football weather. And now we've got almost mid-November weather in the heart of the country. In Kansas, just about a 30-minute drive from downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome back once again. Joel Myers alongside Gary Reasons. You saw the weather conditions, and they haven't improved at all. Emily Jones down on the sideline, and she gets the worst of it, Gary.
Yeah, she definitely does get the worst of it. Be interesting to see how it affects this game so far. We've had light intermittent rain. We've had some spurts where it's come down pretty well. Also, field's probably got a little moisture out there.
Derek Dooley, second season, and pick-me-up in his first year there. Son, if you're wondering, of Vince Dooley. Well, what a run his dad had. Now, Derek qualified, to say the least, an attorney in private practice until he decided to go into coaching. Yeah. So the head coach and the athletic director.
Double duty over there at Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, on the opposite side, Mark Mangino. We'll talk about him throughout the course of the contest. Ostricker kicks it away over to the nearest side. Marcus Herford, the return specialist, bringing it back, trying to bend to the boundary. He will be spun around, though. And will he turn the corner? No. He slowed down. First one in there for Louisiana Tech. Terrence Kale was down there, the defensive back, a sophomore from Patterson, Louisiana, along with Mike Compton. So deep in their own territory, Todd Reesing and the Jayhawks offense. And a guy in DeMarco Farr and Mike Lees were just talking about a couple of the accomplishments last week. 37 completions. That's a new school record. And that came in the opener last week against Florida International. 37 of 52.
A smart guy back there. He spreads the ball around very well, Joel.
Little bubble screen action. They kick it out to the wide receiver. Big time past the 25 on the reception. It was Damon Patterson, the speed burner, a true freshman. As we look at the starting lineup, along with Todd Reesing, our Liberty Mutual starting lineups. And Ryan Cantrell, their senior center out of Sugar Land, Texas, started every game last year, so he's the anchor man in the middle. Jake Sharp will start, and he's out of Salina, Kansas, as the carry is over to the right side for Sharp. So good stock. I know about Salina, Kansas. My mother-in-law is from Salina, Kansas. Only good people out of that area of the country. He's a junior at 5'10", 190. He's their lead back. We'll also see Jock Crawford, a junior from Memphis, who's Cordova High School. That's about 4 yards on first down. It'll be 2nd and 6 from the 31.
Yeah, and you're seeing no huddle here from Kansas, going up-tempo here against this Louisiana Tech defense.
Spreading the offense with 5 wide receivers. And watch number 10 in the slot, Kerry Meyer, the former quarterback, who had 9 catches last week in the opener. High snap. Good job by the 5'11" quarterback. And there's the guy I'm talking about. His favorite target last week, Meyer, past the 35 to the 36, brought down by Calais. The man who made the stop on special teams. And now defensive up front. D'Anthony Smith has the experience for Louisiana Tech in their 4-3 alignment. Quinn Harris, the outside backer, he had a pick last week. Talking about tough. He's playing today with a broken right wrist and a fractured thumb on the corner. That's Stephen House, who also had an interception last week. He is playing with a cast as well. Jock Crawford, the single to the backfield on 3rd and a little more than 2 for the Jayhawks outside of their 35. Back off on the corner. Plum time, and the slot man's got it. Big yardage down the middle. It's complete. It's Anthony Wilson for the first down. Jonathan Wilson, sophomore from Houston.
Joel, the thing that concerned Louisiana Tech defensively, Tommy Spangler, their defensive coordinator, told us we need to match up with the personnel as they unfold and make sure that we're aligned properly. If you give Todd Reesing receivers the ability to get inside of defensive zones like that, he's going to have a big day again.
So moving from their own 15, the Jayhawks now 1st and 10 at the 45 of the Bulldogs, Louisiana Tech. Defensively, the Bulldogs got better as the game went on last week. They got stronger.
And they've had some improvement over snap there, ball
right through the hands of Reesing. And on the outside once again, Patterson, the true freshman from north of Dallas in Mesquite, Texas, pushed out of bounds by Calais, the defensive back. Gain of 3, and they're lucky they got 3 out of it.
Yeah, if there's been a nemesis against Louisiana Tech defensively, it's the number of points they've given up over the last couple of years. But from last year to 2 years ago, from 2006 to 2007, they really made remarkable improvement defensively, and they feel like they're turning the corner. They're getting the pieces of the puzzle in place to where they can compete now, perhaps against these schools like they did last week against Mississippi State.
Reesing calling the play at the line. He's got Crawford to the backfield on 2nd and 7. It is going to be Crawford banging it off right side. And inside the 40 down to the 39, wrapped up by D'Anthony Smith.
You see the pace here for Kansas coming to the line of scrimmage, reading the defense, and that's what Todd Reesing does very, very well. Very efficient back there. He sees what's in front of him there, but they're going to put 6 in the box, 7 in the box. They're going to load it with 8. See the hot bunch out here. They got a big diamond formation to the near sideline. 4 receivers here on the near sideline.
A little bubble, a bunch, as you mentioned, on the wide side of the field. The single on the far side is Desmond Briscoe. They're missing Dexton Fields, a senior receiver out of Dallas, who had 63 catches last year to lead the Jayhawks, but he injured his ankle after his first grab in the opener last week. Came down awkwardly on his left foot. And they're going on the streak pattern down the sideline. It is complete. The single gets it, Desmond Briscoe.
Des Briscoe had 9 catches last week, Joel. Just getting going once again here. Todd Reesing has single one-on-one coverage on the outside. They're going to use Briscoe and his size and speed to get outside. He's 6'3". Throw it up there outside. Excellent toss by Todd Reesing. Perfect throw and a nice grab.
So Reesing on early. All the way down to the 14. 1st and 10 Jayhawks. So Louisiana Tech trying to slow things down. Jayhawks now have converted on a couple of 3rd downs in this drive. That was a 3rd and 3. Mitch Crawford. He struggles his way down to the 11 for a gain of about 3. And Gary, let's look now at our Liberty Mutual scouting report on the Jayhawks.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Today they need to distribute the football. That's what Todd Reesing's going to do. Get a lot of guys in the mix right there. And then their size, their offensive front, their defensive front. They need to be a physical football team. That's what Mark Mangino has brought to this program, the ability to be powerful if need be, to run the football, and on defense be physical against the opponent.
Now their quarterback, Gary, he's got great wheels. Todd Reesing, anytime he's touched the ball, you can find the quarterback draw, you can get out of the pocket, roll off the edge. He is that good a runner as well. This is the slant. It's in out of the hands of Jonathan Wilson.
You talk about Todd Reesing, the thing that he does as a quarterback, he gives you the option of running the football. It's not going to be his #1 priority. He's back there and throwing the ball around today, but Todd definitely can run the football if need be, and he gives you that option. So defenses have to contend with the quarterback as well as these receivers and the running backs as they spread out.
So now it's going to be 3rd at about 7. They can still get a 1st down inside the 4. Make it 1st and goal. More conventional at this time with Crawford staying in the backfield. 2 to each side out of the gun. It's not exactly a hurry up, as you mentioned, just a no-huddle look. The blitz is coming up the middle corner of the end zone. In and out of the hands of Meyer. Had to wait. It was bobbled, and a good play on the corner. The free safety had him isolated. Antonio Baker, who also had an interception last week.
Well, he's a guy that plays well for Louisiana Tech defensively, no doubt about it. He's a junior, and he's one of the leaders back there in the secondary, and going out against Kerry Myers. Good coverage, as you said, Joel, and gets that ball out of there. I thought Kerry might have had a chance to pull that one in, but Antonio Baker gets it knocked away.
Brandstetter tries his first kick as a Jayhawk. He just became eligible over the last 48 hours. A transfer from the Air Force Academy, sat out last year. It'll be a 28-yard attempt. It's on its way. The Jayhawks are on the board after starting with it way back at their own 15. Looked pretty efficient. Had to settle for 3, though. And Kansas to the Big 12 on top of the wax. Louisiana Tech, 5 minutes from downtown Kansas City, one of the real beautiful campuses in all of college football, as Beck and Livis are going back deep. Waiting for the kick from Brandstetter. It's a 3-0 lead early. Livis is the one you got to worry about if you're the Jayhawks. This is a guy with lightning speed, a sophomore at 5'8", 175. He's a former running back in high school, wide receiver for the Bulldogs. Brandstetter down the middle, and it's going to be Livis. Short one, he puts it on the ground though. He retrieves it. Now, little lane coming up the middle. Good field position across the 28-yard line out to the 30. Tripped up by Patrick Resby. So Livis, too quick for his own good that time. Looked up before he put it in his breadbasket. And Taylor Bennett. It's an interesting story here. A young man from St. Louis, played his college football at Georgia Tech. You heard me right. He graduated from Georgia Tech last year. Degree in international affairs. Well, he's working on his master's right now, and he got an academic waiver to play without sitting out for Louisiana Tech in Ruston. It's a nice story for him.
Yeah.
Master's in business is what he's working on.
Great way to get a chance to play. You get that waiver. It's not easy to get with the NCAA.
He's got Patrick Jackson in motion out of the backfield. He was bounced around in the first game and throws it wide of the intended target, trying to get it to his tight end, Dustin Mitchell, but there was Joe Mortensen. He took way too many hits last week, throwing 40 footballs. Now our Liberty Mutual starting lineups now, as you look at the men up front. And the one that has been there a while is the junior left guard who started a few times last year. And that is Ben Harris. In the backfield, you'll see Livas, and a lot of motion from Livas, but Patrick Jackson's the key. Second team all whack last year as he ran for just about 1,000 yards. 4 in the set, 3 on the wide side. They come to the single on the near side. It's complete to Josh Wheeler, the senior from Texarkana, Texas, in front of Kendrick Harper. Short of the first down by a good margin, though, to the 35.
Well, very efficient throw that time. Just sit in the back in the pocket, throw it outside, and take a little something. Now, what they need to do, they need to convert third downs here. There's no doubt about that for Louisiana Tech. That's one of my keys for Louisiana Tech today is get that third down completion percentage up. You've got to keep the Kansas defense a little bit on their heels if at all possible.
Livas down to the bottom of your screen working against Kendrick Harper. Movement up front, offside. It's a free down, and there's Livas. Out in single coverage, first down, though. Decline the penalty and take it into Kansas territory. Boy, that's tough, even as good as Harper's been.
Yeah, they had Joe Rivera offsides there. The linebacker, or excuse me, Mike Rivera steps across the line of scrimmage, and that's the penalty flag, so they'll refuse that.
Offside number 40. Decline. First down.
Yeah, but Livas in the open field. You see him in the secondary making a quick move to get open first of all, and then you're able to get a good gain after that.
Their rock is over on the left side, and that's the senior from Stillwater, Russell Brorson. This is his 3rd year as a starter, 22nd consecutive start, and all 3 of these guys are all Big 12. Joe Mortensen, in fact, first team all Big 12 last year. And Harper, I just talked about him, transferred from Butler County Community College in Kansas. That's difficult duty. Livas, the motion man, gets it in rhythm, but is tripped up, and a good job to hold him to 2 yards. Rivera got him a little bit low, but took him down at the 41.
Yeah, I expect to see the ball in Livas' hands about 10 to 12 times today. No doubt about that. They're going to use it and come around out of the backfield. They'll hand it to him as they do on this play, and just a little quick snap to the quarterback and bring Livas around in motion to try to get outside the defense and use his speed.
Nothing doing on second down. Short game. Maybe 2.5 for the running back, Patrick Jackson. 5'10", 205 pounds. He also caught 31 last year for Derek Dooley's squad, so he's a threat out of the backfield. It'll be 3rd and 5 from the 38. Pocket holds up well this time. And behind the shallow cross of Livas.
Yeah, a little high that time. Bennett had Livas coming across. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the first down, but nice toss underneath there. Just goes through his hands. Balls are a little bit slick out there. Have had the rain on the field.
It rained almost until kickoff, Gary. And it was heavy just about 30 minutes before it started. They're going to keep the offense out there, so a gamble from the 38. You don't get a great field position for Kansas, but the Jayhawks already up 3-0.
Yeah, and this is what you have to deal with on the road. The crowd noise, they're getting into it real well here.
So on 4th and right at 5 from the 38. Bennett wings it out and way wide of Livas. Good coverage by Chris Harris, the sophomore on the other side out of Bixby, Oklahoma.
Yeah, just 3 receivers out in the pattern that time, and all of them pretty well covered defensively by Kansas, so they get the down on stops here. So pretty good job of not allowing too much for Louisiana Tech to get going. I talked about Louisiana Tech converting third downs, did not convert the 4th down there, but and what they need to do defensively is they need to find a way to affect Todd Reesing at the quarterback position, bring pressure, do some different things to get him out of rhythm. But that first drive that he had, no such luck.
So much shorter field this time. They started at the 15 the first time, and a huge hole closes in a hurry on Crawford. And make it Jake Sharp, as he is chopped down after a gain of about 2, and that is it. A nice lane, and it collapsed with Brandon Jackson, the middle linebacker, coming over.
Yeah, it all starts up front here for Kansas, Joel. You got the center, who's a senior, and both guards, Hartley and Mays. You got Cantrell at the center spot. All 3 of those guys have a lot of experience here, and they're the ones that keep everything going there. You got 2 young tackles outside for Kansas. They graduated their tackles last year. We got 2 redshirt freshmen playing today.
Reesing out of the gun. Good lane to seize for a win. He's got Briscoe. He's got a first down, and Briscoe stays on his feet across the midfield stripe to the 45. Well, the way they walled things out, Gary, he had a good, clear field of vision.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You can take your quarterback, let him step up inside there. He throws the ball easily, and Reesing has no trouble seeing Des Briscoe as he comes across the field right there to him and then run after the catch. Good size, 6'3", 200-pounder. Takes care of the football as well.
Sharp turns the corner. The little guy gets outside. Brandon Jackson forces him up. A good yardage, 6, almost 7 yards on first down as we head back to the studio. Dr. Pepper game break time. And let's check in with Michael Eaves.
All right, Joe, thanks a lot. It was business as usual in Norman for the number 4 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Sam Bradford, 5 touchdown passes today. This here, the second connection with Jermaine Gresham as they roll 52-26, 7 touchdowns on the season through 2 games for Sam Bradford.
All right, Michael, no surprise there. The running back had a good day. Bradford had a good day. We led all freshman quarterbacks in passing last year. And now time again. Little turn in route and in out of the hands. Loose ball. Look at I found. Jayhawks get it back. And it looked like the D-back was going to have it. Terry Carter after it went through the hands of Damon Patterson.
Well, you definitely had a catch by a Kansas receiver. It goes in the hands of a Louisiana Tech defender, then back out of his hands back to Kansas. So take a look at it here and see if the ball ever hits the ground. It stays up in the air and the ball is still alive. Just doesn't have a handle on it. Then Briscoe, he's going to get credit for a catch.
What a break. So Briscoe with the first down after it left Damon Patterson. Raymond Brown, a senior from St. Louis, in for the first time. It's Sharp weaving his way off the right side. And a little stutter step delayed. Wait for a block. He got 4. He's down to the 17. Dropped again by the middle linebacker, Brandon Jackson.
Well, right now, Louisiana Tech defensively is not doing anything to disrupt Todd Reesing in this offense from Kansas, and they've got to find a way to get some pressure on him. Tommy Spangler, the defensive coordinator, has got to find a way to bring some pressure from the outside or some of the linebackers to make Reesing uncomfortable back there. But right now, nobody's getting to him at all.
Crawford has taken over in the backfield for Sharp. It'll be 2nd and 6. The drive that started back at the Jayhawk 38 hasn't taken them long. They've already got a field goal, a 28-yarder for Branstetter. Keeping it on the ground. Crawford just bowls his way. 2 yards shy of a first down to the 13. You know what's really surprising about that field goal? All the points they put on the board last year. 42, almost 43 a game. Second highest scoring team in the nation. Kansas did not score on an opening possession of any of their 13 games last year. That's really surprising.
Didn't score a touchdown.
Didn't score on their opening possession. A field goal or a touchdown. Really shocking. Yeah, they look back over the sideline. As we said, it's not a hurry up. It's just a no huddle. It's going to be Crawford. And they stack him up short of the first down by about a yard at the 12. So good surge by the defensive front. He's about he got a good spot. He's about a half yard shy. Adrian Logan, the junior from Coushatta, Louisiana.
And all the blue shirts here at the stadium want him to go for it on 4th down. So what does Mark Mangino do here? Looks like he's leaving his offense out there.
So Kansas, a little less than 5.5 to play in the opening 15, will keep the offense on the field. 2 tight end formation for the first time tonight. It's Crawford again, the only one behind Reesing. Needs about a half a yard. Slowed down and stacked, and he may be short. He needed to go inside the 11, and it looks like he's short of the first down, and again plugging it down low. And you talk about pad level low, Adrian Logan.
Derek Dooley's hoping he's got a stop here from his defense, and this will be a good defensive stand. Louisiana Tech is able to come away here. They're going to have to measure this, I believe.
Yeah, Logan got the penetration. You can see him hanging on.
Wow, this is going to be really close from our vantage point here. It looks like those chains are going to be stretched out. It's going to be about a half an inch either way.
He doesn't have it. Louisiana Tech is held. What a job by their defense on the road in the second series for one of the highest scoring teams in the nation.
Well, Todd Reesing's been throwing the ball very well, very accurately. They decided to run the ball 4 downs that time to try to get that first down, and play calling there deciding to keep it conservative and run the football, but Louisiana Tech does a good job defensively of stopping it up in the middle.
Now let's see if Louisiana Tech, and both teams, Gary, trying to make it difficult for personnel changes on the defensive side, have gone no huddle. So they come out outside of the 11. Taylor Bennett Slings it to Livas. Looking for the little kick out. He got enough of a block from the other wide receiver on that side. And a good job by Cruz Williams, a true freshman from Little Rock.
Well, what Louisiana Tech does is they utilize a lot of two tight end formations, Joel, offensively. They like their tight ends in their package, and they feel like they're versatile enough to be able to spread them out, and they're able to change things up offensively without changing their personnel.
First down marker brought to you by Overstock.com. Your entire order ships for just $2.95 at Overstock.com. Overstock.com. At home with the O. Nothing there that time. Gang tackling, maybe? The definition of Patrick Johnson pushback. Darryl Stuckey, the first one, the strong safety. So now it's going to be third and less than a couple of yards. Outside of the 20.
That's an important third down here. We've got to convert these third downs. If you're a Louisiana Tech fan, you're saying, hey, we got to make something positive happen. We've got to keep the ball offensively and keep Kansas's offense off the field.
Well, Kansas did not have a great ground game last week. Johnson started to hit a little bit in the second half. He had 65 yards, scored twice. We're talking with the running back right now for Louisiana Tech, but he is checked out. And in fact, he goes over to the wingback position. It's a set up. In fact, Dustin Mitchell in that position. And a timeout has been called by Taylor Bennett. So a huge win early for Louisiana Tech on the road. Will the drive stay alive in Lawrence? We'll find out. They won 7-1 in the North and a record-setting 12 wins last year. Their defense had a lot to do with it. Now their defense tries to hold Louisiana Tech on third and a little more than a yard. Bennett leans, and he got a good spot over to the far side. Who do they toss the ball to? He needed to go just barely across the 21. I think he's got it.
Yeah, I think he's got this by a good foot or so, so they're going to move this ahead. Good job there converting on third down, third and short. Change up the formation, just get behind the big quarterback. Bennett does a good job getting in behind the center, and just enough for a first down.
Louisiana Tech with momentum after their win over Mississippi State last week. First SEC team ever to come into Ruston. And they made the most of the opportunity. An 8-win Mississippi State team. Nice turn. And then torpedoing the play is Darryl Stuckey on Patrick Johnson. Gain of about 3. Time for another game break. Michael Eaves, what's the latest?
Well, Joe, you were just talking about Missouri. The Tigers ranked 7th in the country, taking on Southeast Missouri State. Chase Daniel with the pitch. Perfect timing there to Jeremy Macklin. 3-yard touchdown run. And Missouri, just like that, out to a 14-0 lead. And Chase Daniel, Heisman campaign continues. Already 6 for 7, 100 yards in the first quarter, Joel.
All right, Michael, they were impressive offensively at times last week. Not overwhelming, but very impressive, even with 52 points on the board. Some people might think that is strange, but even Daniel will tell you.
Prior to the snap, false start, 76 wide. Louisiana Tech, 5-yard penalty. Replay, still second down.
But back to what Michael Eaves was just talking about. And Gary, I know you watched the Missouri-Illinois game. Missouri offensively, they're not going to have issues. They will be a very, very good team once again with Chase Daniel. If they're going to be a championship team, though, they better get their act together defensively.
Yeah, they got to find a way to shore up a few holes there, but it's early in the year. That's why you play these non-conference games. Played a good one last week, a good football team in Illinois, and today they're just trying to get a little bit better each ball game out there.
Bennett checking off at the line. He's got a second and long, second and a dozen. Short drop for the southpaw. And that's a long throw. It's complete. And boy, he drilled it out there.
Yeah, that's a big time throw by Taylor Bennett. Sits in the pocket, looks to the right, and comes across the field to the left side. And this ball is actually thrown about 35-40 yards from the quarterback spot. He puts it right on the money, and it's going to be just a little bit short here. Look at him set and throw the football, and that's a rope.
Good throw to the true freshman out of Boston. R.P. Stewart at 6'3", 205. They've got some good-looking true freshmen that Derek Dooley brought in. 3 that they'll use. We saw Cruz Williams earlier, another guy at 6'3", 200 pounds. So good targets to go along with Livas and Beck, their starters. Womack and Wheeler. Wheeler's already got a grab. It'll be third and about a yard. Jackson in the eye, and check that as the other little scat back. And the smaller back, Daniel Porter, gets it. Nifty move right at the point of attack for the junior from Baton Rouge, and another first down. Yeah. Getting out of the hole.
No doubt about that. Getting some field position established here. A couple of first downs. Just getting 10.5 yards each time, though. But So nothing really stretching the defense down the field. Louisiana Tech is spreading the field across and getting those 3- and 4-yard gains.
Derek Dooley's got a defense that has turned things around since he arrived. They were one of the worst defenses in all of college football just a couple of years ago. Drastic improvement last year, trying to keep them in a game tonight, and they did that in the last series. That time, though, Patrick Johnson had nowhere to go. Yeah, maybe a yard.
Brorson gets off the tackle there, off the block, and makes a tackle. He gets a help from one of the linebackers. So good job there by the defensive end. We've got a KU player down on the field, though.
And they've already lost one, and that's their starting cornerback, Kendrick Harper. So Blakesley has gone down, and here's a guy. Unfortunately, there is Kendrick Harper, the senior from Hartwell, Georgia.
They were supporting his neck and stuff on the sideline. We didn't really know exactly what is wrong with Kendrick, but came to the sideline, and here's Kendrick Harper just making a contact here off of Livas, and he's kind of got jammed.
Right.
Hopefully just precautionary, taking him inside, and then.
So from one guy down to another, and that's one of the big guys up front, Blakesley.
Yeah.
Stay with us from Lawrence, Kansas. They don't know it's wet. They don't know it's cold. We're just having a good time. And they're out late tonight in Lawrence. Next week, College Football Saturday, all presented by Suzuki, returns as Washington State Cougars head to Texas, matching up with the Baylor Bears. Coverage all starts at 12:30 Eastern. That's 9:30 out of the West Coast in HD high definition. Jackson brought down by Holt, and now another third lung situation. Not exactly the ultimate for Taylor Bennett.
Now, kind of a conservative play calling game here so far by Frank Selfo, the offensive coordinator for Louisiana Tech, and utilizing the run game quite a bit here, trying to move the ball effectively. But now you got a 3rd and 9 situation. You're going to throw the ball down the field.
You remember Derek Dooley told us a couple of days ago, though, Taylor Bennett got hit far too often in the opener. He was just 14 of 40. I make it 17 of 40 in the opener. But they got to him after he released the football. Now with an empty backfield, steps up, better pocket protection, and he will run up the middle, have the first down, and gets it back. I thought when he angled over to the left side, Gary was going to give it up, and he's got it to the 45. Brought down by Rivera. Good
job that time by Bennett. He's only rushing 3 here for Kansas. 3 down linemen. The linebackers all drop back into coverage, and he steps up into the pocket, sees no pressure there, and says, hey, there's some real estate ahead of me. Let's go get it. And jogs left, comes back to the right, and definitely gets the first down. So 3 consecutive first downs here for Louisiana Tech.
It's a guy that started all 12 games last year. He's a rarity. All 12 for Georgia Tech. And now he's working on his master's in business for Louisiana Tech. Now they started this back outside of their own 11. And now all the way to the 45. 3 consecutive first downs on the play fake. Bennett, good play fake. Deep over the middle. Livas takes it away from the defensive back and can't hang on. Harris tried to jump the route, didn't he? He thought he had it.
No, good job that time by, I think it's Justin Thornton possibly came over the top there, Joel. Safety over the top, run it, and made contact with Livas.
So that's the end of a very entertaining first 15 minutes of play. And Louisiana Tech hanging right in there. They'll have the football when we come back, but it's a field goal difference. And Kansas is on top at home.
Knee pretty closely, and it's a shame that he did come off the field because defensive coordinator Clint Bowen said he was one of the guys he felt like surprised him the most in their season opener last week. He said he really disrupted things. He ran to the football, and he felt like he really turned a corner in that game. So hopefully, pardon me, Blakesley's night is not done.
All right, Bennett on the last play, Gary. He flooded that side and then went to Josh Wheeler.
Yeah, another little injury update. Looks like Kendrick Harper is, they've taken him off the field, and looks like it's going to get him into an ambulance to further evaluate him, and hopefully we'll get some word on Kendrick Harper as well.
It's a first down. Wheeler can't hang on to the hot one on that side. He's already got a couple of grabs. Missed all but 4 games last year with an injury.
Joel, this offensive line last week against Mississippi State, they did a great job of maintaining the football. They didn't allow, it was about 11 minutes of possession of the 4th quarter against Mississippi State. That offensive line did a great job of running and protecting the quarterback and just playing keep away against Mississippi State. And it looks like they're trying to do that against this Kansas team.
This is the 14th play of the drive, coming up, batted up into the air and almost intercepted by the young man we talked about, Russell Brorson, he's a rock on the end. He doesn't put up gaudy numbers in sacks. He just shows up on every play.
Just play at the top of your screen there. It's just going to come off the block and read the quarterback's eyes. He knows he's going to the flat, just gets up in front of it and almost comes away with a pick.
Now it's going to be 3rd and 10 at the 45. Louisiana Tech Very efficient 4 or 5 of their third down tries. As Bennett's going to work out of the gun. 3 to the wide side of the field. Wheeler is the single to the bottom. Little middle screen. They got it set. It's Johnson, or Jackson rather, and he's got the first down. What a play call down to the 33.
And it was against pressure from the outside, so the pressure really worked to the advantage of Louisiana Tech that time. The big tackle on the left side, Rob McGill, number 74. Watch him just wall the guys to the outside up here. No problem getting underneath, and Harper does a good job to get that first down. Patrick Jackson rather.
He's a senior from Edgard, Louisiana. Porter takes over in the backfield. Different look of the formation. Little guy turns the corner nicely, and he's got close to 5 on first down. So this has been a time-consuming drive that started way back outside of their own 11. And you talked about the 11.5 minutes that they had the football in the fourth quarter last week, and they did. They made sure Mississippi State could not come back from an 8-point deficit.
Little ball control is not a bad thing. So even though they're going to hurry up, no huddle offense here, they're just utilizing as much time on the clock as need be, and very comfortable, very similar to what Kansas does at the line of scrimmage.
It'll be second. Inside of 7, closer to 6. And movement up front. There was contact. It was a false start, though, by the tight end, Dennis Morris.
False start. 49, Louisiana Tech. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
And that was one of the things that when we talked to the coaches from Louisiana Tech, Frank Cefalo, the offensive coordinator, he was pretty displeased with his tight end's performance last week, and penalties kind of go that way. They weren't very productive catching the football, they weren't doing what they needed to, so he thinks that they're going to have hopefully a much more spirited effort today. Justin Mitchell as well as Dennis Morris.
And they didn't beat themselves last week into winning the game. They only had 6 penalties for 35 yards, as opposed to 10 for Mississippi State. It's Porter making the first one miss in the backfield. And the big guy thought he had him. It was Jamal Green in the backfield. Joe Mortensen finally got to him. But that's speed, Daniel Porter.
Jamal had one hand on him on the lower body, but just the strength of Porter, utilizing his speed and quickness, gets out of that. It's a good positive gain here. So 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8 for Louisiana Tech.
Jackson back into the game. Porter had some big ones last year. We'll talk about that later. Utah State game, Boise State, they won't forget that either. So they need just about 7 on 3rd down. Bennett out of the gun. Pick up the blitz up the middle, so he's got the time, and a bullet. It's complete for the first down. Man, bringing it in, we were just talking about the tight ends. There's Dustin Mitchell, the tight end, making a huge grab in front of Strozer, who had a pick last week.
Well, they're part of the offense. They're part of the package, and they want them to make plays and come across the middle of the field. The bigger target's able to get the ball to them and get a good grab and a first down.
You know, we talk about Mitchell with their staff. There's a guy they think can play on Sundays down the road. He's only a junior, though, fortunately for Louisiana Tech. Long drive continues at the 20 of the Jayhawks. It'll be Jackson cutting it back. And maybe a yard. That is it to the 19. Pushed back by Mortensen. So their leading tackler. First team all Big 12 last season. Wrapped him up.
A pretty good effort by this offensive front here from Louisiana Tech, controlling things there, taking care of business, giving a pretty good hold there for him. There's a missed one little block there on Mike Rivera. He comes in and makes the play.
Pretty impressive drive, Gary.
Yeah, it has been. They've maintained control of the football. They've taken care of it. Haven't been huge gains, but they've just been methodically taking 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, 3.5 yards a carry or so, and that's what you're getting.
This is 2nd down. 6 of 7 on 3rd downs does not hurt. Going to be back underneath and behind Livas. So Livas was featured in the first drive that stalled after a couple of first downs, and they failed on 4th down. He has not touched it on this series, though. They've gone to other sources.
Yeah, nothing vertical also against his KU defense. Everything very, very much across the field and shorter throws. Not too distant down the field, but a chance now inside the 20-yard line. You might want to utilize those tight ends or your slot receivers to get up the seam and perhaps into the end zone.
3 on the wide side, including Womack. Also in there, Stewart. So it's an empty backfield. You're about to say 5. They've got 5. Bennett, will he run for it? He's going to try to get to it. Needs a block. He'll get it back for Porter. Down the sideline, a 1st and goal inside the 10, and the little running back came out and helped him on the edge.
Yeah, and the quarterback does a nice job of getting outside and out of bounds. No need to take any contact. He knew he had the first down. They're taking 5 on the outside, 5 receivers. Watch the block coming back by the receiver. Going to get a block right there. Going to get Rivera. And Exactly what you need to do to help a quarterback when he comes down.
Bennett running for cover. Got to the sideline. Jackson back in there. 1st and goal on a drive. If they get it, it'll be 89 yards. But they need to negotiate the last 5. Jackson, penetration to the backfield, barely gets back to the line.
Yeah, that was penetration.
Yeah,
a lot of blue shirts.
Stuckey did a good job.
A couple of tackles inside there. The defensive lineman doing a good job getting penetration up front. Johnson, Green, 97 and 99. Watch them as they get back inside of the backfield, and that's what causes the running back to run through and not have a hole there. Good job of filling the lanes.
Honorable mention, all Big 12 last year for the junior from Kansas City, Kansas. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 6. It's been a half-hour drive. Jackson in motion out of the backfield. Spread the defense. Bennett over the middle. Bounced around and intercepted off the hands of the intended target. It's picked off by Chris Harris. What a break. Stuckey may have deflected it. It looked like Stuckey. And Harris has the pick.
Well, you've got one-on-one coverage to the outside. I'm very surprised that Bennett decides to throw the ball inside here. Huge play defensively for Kansas with the tip ball.
So Reese into the offense back. Jayhawks hold after the long drive by Louisiana Tech.
Time Kansas on top of Louisiana Tech by a score of 3-0. And this is a guy that many all Jayhawk fans will recognize. What am I talking about? Bill Self, the coach of the national champion Kansas Jayhawks of basketball. I was driving into town, Coach, and it says, "Welcome to Lawrence, home of the 2008 national champions in men's basketball and 2008 Orange Bowl champions." Good time to be a Jayhawk, isn't it?
It's got a nice ring to it, I think. No, it's a great time, and you know the weather's not great tonight, but our football team's good, and I think they're going to have another great season.
Are you okay sharing the spotlight? I mean, this is considered a largely basketball school. I say largely because Mangino's creeping in on you a little bit, isn't he?
Well, I think there's plenty of room for both. You know, Mark says all the time. Last time we checked, I don't think we're on each other's schedule this year. So I know we want them to do well, and nothing sets the tone for enthusiasm on campus like the football team playing well early.
What's the offseason been like as the national champions?
It's beats the alternative, but it hasn't been all rosy. We've had our few obstacles, but everything's gotten back to normal for the most part. And we got all our players cleared and eligible and in classes now, which was a big concern of ours. And you know, but I really like our young kids. We're gonna be pretty good. We got a long ways to go, but they remind me so much of that the team we had last year, 3 years ago, when they were all young.
Do you see the benefits of the success that Mark Mangino has had with this football team in your program?
Absolutely. You know, football more so than any sport benefits the entire athletic department because there's more possibilities for revenue. So he's done a remarkable job. The players work hard. They do it the right way, and of course bringing recruits in on great, you know, festive football weekends, I think does a lot to sell your program.
Bill Self, thanks so much for braving the elements with me. Looks like you're bringing your Jayhawks some good luck as well. Go back up to your luxury suite now, Coach. Back up to a couple of other guys in a pretty sweet spot.
We're not complaining.
Joel Gear.
Desmond Briscoe. Middle of the field available, and no safety came over to help.
Yeah, we're getting some football action here. Kansas kind of unleashing it, going down the field. Des Briscoe here, I think his 3rd or 4th catch in the ballgame.
It'll be a first down at the 41. Out of the gun. Reese now 6th all-time in passing yardage. I said he's got some decent wheels. He's a tough kid, doesn't mind pulling it down, and he's got it down to the 36 for a gain of about 5. Darby got to him there. Middle linebacker.
Up-tempo here by Kansas offensively. They're going to try to pace this Louisiana Tech defense and try to get some things called quickly up there, I believe. And they don't want them to change substitutions. Looks like Louisiana Tech is trying to get some other personnel on the field.
Yeah, a little quicker now, the rhythm to this set, as opposed to the first 2 series for the Jayhawks. And now he slows it down, though. Make sure the personnel cannot be changed for Louisiana Tech. Trips on the wide side of the field. And Reese throwing it up the ground. Got it on the hand of the defensive back. What a grab. Kerry Meyer. It looked like, as Deion Young made the play, it looked like he was going to get a piece of it.
Well, Kerry Meyer, you can see him down here at the middle of the field, and he just goes to the outside. The former quarterback and now wide receiver for Kansas. And, you know, he's a guy out there, he's a heady guy. He knows his system, and heck, he's a great athlete as well. Catches the ball very, very well. And big part of this Kansas offense.
What a start for Reese. He hit 62% of his passes last year. Meyer, tough catch in traffic, dumped immediately by Weldon Brown. And with that completion, boy, what a beginning. 9, make it 10 of 12 with that grab on the passing of Reese.
Well, very efficient here, throwing to, again, sure-handed, great athlete, Kerry Meyer. And a lot of people thought when Kerry Meyer came to this program that he was going to be the next star quarterback for the University of Kansas. Played a little bit there, but things weren't meant to be, and now he's found a good spot as a wide receiver.
There's Briscoe. Can he get there? Inside the 5, first and goal. Boy, great pocket protection to allow the quarterback Reese to naturally go through his progressions.
Well, you take a look at your people you block around. Well, you got to have your running backs block as well. And you can just tip one over like that. That's pretty good stuff. And Reese just dots the I right in the middle of the field there to Briscoe, and nobody within 5 yards of him.
Reese on first and goal, corner of the end zone, touchdown. Into the corner, Patterson's got it. Jayhawks add to their lead.
Well, Patterson's the inside receiver here, and he's going to take it back to the back corner of the end zone. Reese has confidence in him that he's going to run the route and get to the spot there. Patterson does a nice job of getting separation, and the ball was perfectly thrown.
Good-looking true freshman. They returned to punt 75 yards for his score last week. And now Brandstetter out of Lawton, Oklahoma. Up and through. And it's boy, that's a heartbreaker. Louisiana Tech held on to the football for 9.5 minutes. They don't score. And in a couple of minutes, Kansas comes down and drills them 10-0. And Tech had it for 9:23 and didn't get a point, Gary. You talk about frustration.
Well, the guys in the white jerseys had a great drive, but no points, getting inside the 10-yard line of the Jayhawks and come away empty-handed. As you said, Joel, they turned it around very, very quickly and put 7 up on the board in a little over 3 minutes.
Brandstetter kicks it away from the 30 as Livis back weight. And it's going to be Livis from the 6. Speedster across the 20 out to the 25. So decent field position for Louisiana Tech on their 3rd series of the contest. We'll find out how they respond. Can they recover? It'll be a first down for Louisiana Tech. Right before we broke away, wondered how they respond after the disappointment. Bennett, nice footwork, and then overshoots his target on the far side.
And I think he made a bad decision there. He had a lot of real estate in front of him that he could have gotten 5 or 6 or maybe 7 yards to run, but he throws one high and out outside. I think it was the miscues tonight, and Derek Dooley knows that he's got to play error-free, especially when you come to a place like Kansas, who's done very, very well at home. And great numbers here for Mark Mangino over the life of his program.
He had a tall target over there in Dustin Mitchell. Is Patrick Jackson, who's collared. Gain of about a yard, so it brings up again a 3rd and long. Louisiana Tech is 7 of 8. Great numbers on 3rd down so far, but about 3 of those 7 that they've converted have been 3rd and long. And on the road, that is tough. They got to take it past the 34. He keeps the tight end Dustin Mitchell in the backfield with Jackson. Over the middle. Deflected. It looked like it was going to be short anyway, but dropping in coverage and getting a piece of it was Darryl Stuckey, the strong safety.
Well, we talked about the miscues. We talked about being able to convert on 3rd down. And Kansas at home, what they've done has been pretty dominant here. 10 straight home wins, and look numbers there, 15 straight wins against non-conference foes, and 7-0 at home in 2007. Already got 1 here in 2008. So they've done a great job of protecting their turf and scoring points as well.
Cagle is going to punt for the first time. First team all WAC last year, led the WAC in punting. 41+ yard average, and hangs up a real high one. A short one as Patterson calls for the fair catch. Runs into the back of his own man, and a break for Kansas. It didn't touch anybody. It goes out of bounds. He walked up the back of Isaiah Barfield, the cornerback. So not exactly a ton of communication. Right now, though, Mangino's trying some of that with Barfield. We do have a flag back at the original line of scrimmage, so we'll keep it right here with 6:31 left in the half.
Coach Mangino's going to take the ball at the spot where the ball was punted to, so probably going to refuse this penalty.
After that collision, I would.
Kicking team, only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty will be added on at the end of the kick. First down.
So great field position coming up for the Jayhawks as we've got a timeout on the field. Now we will take a timeout with the guys downstairs. Jayhawks get it back close to midfield and they're on top by 10. Seeing the history and traditions of the Big 12 Conference. Tonight we highlight the Jayhawks. Champion, it's how you play. So the best field position to start a drive for the Jayhawks, their own 40. And Reesing checking off at the line after he brought the play from the sideline. And a little pick action out there. The block is by Wilson for Patterson. And Kale made the play at about the 44, so it could have been more damage, but a good job in the secondary. And it's a gain of about 4. Welcome me back to Lawrence. Joel Myers, Gary Reasons, Emily Jones downstairs on a wet and chilly night in Lawrence. 6+ to play in the half, and Reesing and the Jayhawks get it offensively for the 4th time with a 10-point lead.
Yeah, what I like about this offense, Joel, is how they mix things up. They'll take it from sideline to sideline. They'll utilize all different types of personnel groupings. Not afraid to put it in a lot of people's different people's hands in the ballgame.
Little option action, little different wrinkles, sharp pace on the boundary. Gain of only 2 up to the 46. Punched out of bounds by the strong side backer Brian White.
All these different little wrinkles, they take time and preparation. This team, they're pretty polished on their effort and what they do out there. Very efficient quarterback in Todd Reesing. We've talked about him all evening, that making just great decisions with the football so far.
Look at a 3rd and 4 as they are 2 of 4 the Jayhawks on their 3rd down tries. They're going to empty the backfield, so 5 wide receivers set up in the pattern. Needs 4, could run 4 to be Winston, and now indecision. Will it cost him? No. Gets a little seal and underneath Meyer. A quarterback to another quarterback. Reads him well and helps his teammate out.
Well, with protection up front, that's exactly what what allows him to get the ball to Meyer. Todd Reesing's got a center up there, and Ryan Cantrell, who, he's on the Remington watch list, and he's a pretty heady guy, and he just holds out that nose tackle. Don't let him go anywhere, and then you see Reesing come up in the mix, and no chance for the big tackle, defensive tackle, Anthony Smith, to come off.
How about the start for Reesing, Gary? 14 of 16, and that's his 8th straight completion. This guy doesn't get rattled, does he? He just hangs in there. So the patience paid off on that play. It'll be 1st and 10 to the 45 of Louisiana Tech. Again,
the time.
You said it. A half hour back there. No gain on the carry.
Well, they only rushed 3 that time, so but all 3 of them were definitely locked up by the offensive line group. And Reesing that time steps up in the pocket. Maybe he didn't even have to step up. He just had to step up and read around more, but decided to take a little dive there at the line of scrimmage.
So now time of possession belonging to the Jayhawks over the last few minutes of this contest. After a long drive, the most successful 9.5. That's how long Louisiana Tech held on to the football. But a pick in the end zone off the hands of their tight end. Ended up in the arms of Chris Harris. The Jayhawks averted a score. Shutting them out so far. Now a ton of time again for Reesing. Coming back Briscoe, but he was ready to run before he had the football. Tried to pull it off in front of Weldon Brown. So now it's going to be 3rd and 10 from the 45.
Yeah, he wanted Kerry Meyer on a little wheel route, come inside and go back out, but Meyer lost his footing at the top of the screen, so had to come back downhill to Briscoe.
The first down marker all brought to you by Overstock.com. Save up to 70% on brand name products every day. It's Overstock.com. At home with the O. So the number 12 team in the nation, the Jayhawks of Kansas, at home up by 10. And now they need 10 to get a first down and keep the drive alive. Spread the ball around. Shown back. Briscoe won't get there. Great open field tackle. Hoosier City, Louisiana.
And we got Briscoe at 6'3", 200 pounds, streaking across the field and catching the ball in stride, and you're able to make this tackle. That's a good job by the defense of coming up, making a good sure tackle short of the first down marker. So it's going to be 4th and short here for Kansas, and they're going to take a timeout and consider this one.
We had Bill Self down to the sideline. As you look at the Advance Auto Parts leaders from last season in touchdown tosses, Todd Reesing. a couple missing there that have graduated, but the guys that are back, as we think about Colt Brennan and some of the others that did leave, and man, has Reesing been on once again. Yes. And I said spreading it out where Patterson's got 5 grabs, Briscoe's got 4, Myers got 4.
Well, that's what they need to do is spread the ball around, and they utilize a lot of different players out of the backfield as the receivers. And Briscoe's done a good job catching the football. Kerry Myers got in the action as well. He had 9 grabs a week ago, so nothing new for Todd Reesing. He throws a touchdown pass in the end zone to Patterson. So a lot of different guys get in the mix here for Kansas, and that's what this offense is designed to do. Spread the defense out, take advantage of the mismatches.
Well, we had Bill Self down on the sideline with Emily Jones. Good to be a Jayhawk, and he had a good time talking to Emily about it. When Mark Mangino got here 7 years ago, they won 2 games. And when we talked to Mark earlier in the week, and I congratulated him because they had better than 52,000, a record-setting crowd for a non-conference World International to open the season. Mark started laughing and went through some of the things that have transpired over the 7th season. We'll get back to it after this 4th down, though, because it is ironic the way things have transpired to the point where they're an Orange Bowl winner. And Bill Self and the Jayhawks, the champions of college basketball, all in the same year in Lawrence. Underneath, first down. Kerry Meyer makes a miss, runs through the arm tackle, and gets extra yards as he got away from Dominique Faust. House finally caught up with him, but he got a first down to the 28. And well, Mark Mangino talked about it as we look back at the play.
Well, did nothing new here for Kerry Meyer. Just get to the spot and look for the football because it's coming. You got another quarterback back there that's got confidence in you as a receiver because he knows you know the offense, and you're going to be very productive.
Jack Crawford gets about 3, but to put a tag on what Mark Mangino was talking about and laughing about Gary, he said, you know, when we got here, I thought maybe I was mistaken and time of day, or maybe they didn't know we were playing because there were people outside. They were skateboarding. They were throwing the Frisbees. People were walking dogs. It was like they didn't know a football game was going on around here.
There's a lot of people on campus not aware of the football programs, what he's alluding to. That has all changed.
He had over 52,000, a new record. The old record was set last year for Nebraska, 51,910. Over the middle again, Kerry Meyer. Boy, are these guys in communication with each other. Inside, and Meyer's a good-sized target at 6'3", 225. Big kid out of Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Now, remember, he's another quarterback, so don't be surprised if he gets the ball in his hands and chunks one here today. But as a receiver, doing a great job here. We talked about him last week against Florida International. Came up with 9 grabs. He's had a pretty good night here so far as well.
Let's head downstairs. Emily Jones.
Guys, I don't know if you can tell up there, but down here it is coming down harder than it has been all night. So the rain definitely going to take a toll on this game, whether it be positive or negative for either team remains to be seen. But the Jayhawks moving the ball well right now.
Really strange weather. Not necessarily the precipitation, but it's chilly. Usually it's warm. Indian summer, September, October, it's beautiful. Little screen out to the flanker, didn't fool. Louisiana Tech, they covered it well. Gain of about 4, though, down to the 8. Christian Lacey, as Wilson grabbed it. Lacey over there, wrapped him up quickly.
Now, these receivers, they flip sides of the field sometimes when they come back to the line of scrimmage and changing up the formations all the time. When they go back to the line of scrimmage, everything is all different every time, each time Louisiana Tech looks at this offensive alignment.
Final 2 minutes, productive first half for the Jayhawks, and especially on the defensive side, where they have not given up any points yet. On 2nd and a half dozen. Reesing's got room over the middle, and he's got Meyer just out of a creep. Back of the end zone, and he had a beat on the safety Baker.
Well, one of the things I've seen in this ball game about the offensive line here for Kansas is they're keeping their quarterback clean. No one has really touched Todd Reesing or putting him a lot of pressure on him, making it force him to cause bad throws. And they've done a good job of holding out the Louisiana Tech defensive front and their blitzes when they bring pressure.
So from inside the 8, it's going to be 3rd and 6. Keep Jack Crawford in the backfield, working out of the shotgun. Trips on the wide side, the single. He is going to be once again Desmond Briscoe, and he usually has gone to the single when he floods one side. At least percentage-wise, that's where Reesing has looked. Now he goes to the side he floods and overshoots Kerry Meyer. He's just coming out of his break against Deion Young, the safety.
I think Kerry Meyer wants a flag on that one, thinking that the defender had a hand around Kerry Meyer, not allowing him to come off that break. But the turf is a little wet, as Emily Jones talked about. It's coming down here, the rain, light rain, and perhaps the footing is not as good as you'd like it out there.
Well, Branstedter's got a 28-yarder. His first kick as a member of the Jayhawks after transferring from the Air Force Academy and sitting out last year. This is going to be a 25-yard attempt. So only 5 yards more than an extra point try out of the hold of Kerry Meyer. And 3 more on the board for Kansas. So the Jayhawks have a 13-0 lead with 96 seconds left in the half. Well, Indian summer, my favorite time of the year to come back to the Midwest by far. It is so beautiful in this part of the country in September and October. But as Emily Jones said, on a Saturday night, we could have some fog as a factor in the second half of this game. It's that kind of night. Not exactly typical.
There's no fog in front of Todd Reesing's face because he's pretty efficient tonight with what he's done with the football, finding different receivers, getting everybody into the action, and just being very efficient with it overall.
It's a good fireplace night, isn't it? Tomorrow, Fox NFL Sunday returns. Terry, Howie, Jimmy Kurt, Frank are joined by new coach Michael Strahan. Final word of the Brett Favre saga. And what kind of season is it going to be for the Cowboys? 4 Drive on Fox NFL Sunday pregame show tomorrow. It all starts at noon Eastern and 9 out on the West Coast. But for what really counts, the Midwest, 11 a.m.
11 a.m. You got that guy, Michael Strahan, going to join that crew?
He almost, once Goodley went down, he almost. Or Yorman went down. He almost for your Giants. Well, what about those people protected? Sitting in those lazy boys.
They've got some great seating out here at this south end zone for Kansas now. They put it together. Those are leather reclining seats, and they've got flat screen TVs in front of them. I mean, those are well, how I like to watch a ball game.
Now, did you think when Yorman went down, did you think that Strahan was going to come out?
No, not at all. He had made the decision to go to retirement, and they tried to get him back. They tried to put a number out there that would be good for him, but he knows that he was not in shape, and I think that's the biggest thing.
It'll be Livas from the 5. He's yet to get on track. He's got the speed. You can see good wheels. Yeah. Hits a little crease past the 30. Found a lane to the 31-yard line. So Louisiana Tech with an opportunity now, and still 2 timeouts on the board. So plenty of time with 1:29 left in the half on our Suzuki Quad scoring drive. It stalled once they got and a first and goal inside the 15. What's first and goal yet?
Well, now Louisiana Tech comes back with minute and 39 seconds left, 29 seconds left to go here in this half. Will they stretch the ball down the field and try to challenge this Kansas defense? They have not done so tonight. They've decided to go pretty much horizontal across the field, spreading it out. So you just see what their mindset is.
Taylor Bennett trying to set up a middle screen. He's lucky that it was thrown at the feet of Daniel Porter and incomplete. So that'll stop it. Bennett, with that miss, is now 7 of 18 for 79 yards. The young man who played at Georgia Tech talked about that, a starter all 12 games for the Yellow Jackets.
Now last week, go ahead. Last week he was 17 of 40 in that ball game. Not as efficient as he would like to be, but no sacks either. So he's throwing the ball away a lot of times when he's got pressure in his face.
Yeah, after all the hits he took last week too. Underneath, it's close to and will be a first down. Good spin by his wide receiver on the first catch of the night for Philip Batt, the senior from Crosby, Texas. Run around and put down by Arist Wright.
And they'll stop the clock until they get the chain set, and then they'll get going here once again on the referee.
So a big completion by Bennett. He's shown a good arm. Now a little chip, but here comes backside pressure. And good job to just throw it over the head of the wide receiver, Shane Womack, and avoid the sack and the loss. Arist Wright, though, came off the edge on a blitz.
And he got pressure on the backside. He's just trying to get out of harm's way. And
they hung in a lot of games last year. In the first year for Derek Dooley, losing in overtime to a very good Hawaii team with Colt Brennan. Fresno State hang in there. They hung in a lot of games. Boise State as well. Had a big game from Porter. In fact, against Boise State, the young man we were talking about earlier, he had 131 yards rushing. Well, where are they drawing off?
Yeah, defense going to jump across there. Big Jamal Green made contact with the center, so probably going to go against the Jayhawks on this one.
Offside defense. Number 99, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That is Jamal Green. So a lot of time left in the half. It's only a 13-point deficit for Louisiana Tech. But as we mentioned, they bring back a lot of people on defense from last year's squad that was top 5 of the nation in total defense. They were 4th in scoring defense. And that's the difficult proposition. They lost their all-world corner, though, an All-American, Aqib Talib, who was taken 20th in the first round. Thrown away by Bennett. Just tried to get rid of it with heat in his face once again. And it came from right.
You know, that's kind of how you deal with a program, Joel. You're always going to have players that are going to graduate and move on in their lives, and some of them move on to the National Football League, and some of them just run out of eligibility. And that's what you do with the program. And Mark Mangino has built this program the right way. And what I mean by that is they've recruited well, they've brought along younger players, so that when time comes for them to play in a football game, it's not like they're just so green out there.
It's now 3rd down. Again, the heat on Bennett. Man, sidearm had to get rid of it. Right in his face, Mike Rivera, almost like he was untouched.
Well, they're bringing some pressure on the quarterback, no doubt about that, and causing him to throw it when he's not ready to throw it. And then the coverage in the secondary by the Jayhawks has done a nice job of keeping it close to the receivers, so they're not open for him to throw the ball to him.
So 4th down punting situation. Damon Patterson will be able to touch it for the first time, at least on a punt return. He's got some receptions. And I bring that up because of the success he had last week on the 75-yarder for a score in his first game as a Jayhawk, a true freshman from Mesquite, Texas. Off the side of the foot of Cagle. Good hop for Louisiana Tech. And he touched right at about the 9-10-yard line.
Well, he had 5 of those last week inside the 20-yard line, so he's done a good job of helping his defense when he does do a shorter punt or a pooch punt.
Well, if you're Mark Mangino, what do you do here? 42 seconds to play. Do you gamble? That deep in your own territory? You've got 2 timeouts, Gary.
Well, I think you put it in the hands of your quarterback, and it depends on the success that you have on 1st down here, what happens. And I don't think they're going to go for the home run. They just want to be conservative here and don't make a mistake with the football, most importantly.
Bring out the experience of the backfield, Jake Sharp, the junior from Salina. He alternated with Brandon McAnderson last year. McAnderson better than 1,100 yards on the ground. Sharp, not too shabby. 8 1/4. It'll be Sharp. Good hole. And he gets about 5 out to the 15.
Yeah, they can let this run out if they choose to, and it looks like that's probably what they're going to do. The 40-second clock kick in. It's 30 seconds left.
And as you brought up earlier, playing with a wet ball.
Yeah, a little bit wet out there, so you don't want to make a mistake with the football. I think that Coach Mangino will be content to go into their new facility, their new end zone complex here at this stadium, and take a lead at halftime.
Yeah, they don't even have to take it to the snap. Head over as Derek Dooley and Louisiana Tech will adjust and see what we'll get in the second half. So a shutout working for one of the most dominant defensive teams in the nation last year, that of the Kansas Jayhawks. And let's see if there's going to be some answers in the second half for Derek Dooley and his staff from Louisiana Tech. Let's head downstairs. Emily Jones.
Coach Mangino, your defense pitching a shutout. You happy with their play outside of the one drive where they came up with a big interception at the end?
Well, I like the idea that our defense has done pretty well here in terms of not letting them on the board. But you're right, that drive there, they converted several 3rd downs that we should not allow. We got to be firmer in that area and not let them do that. We're throwing the ball pretty well. We're not running the ball well. I think there's several people contributing to that problem. Some of the offensive line, I don't think our backs are running the way they ought to either. So we'll get that straightened out at halftime.
Say one more from the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, safe to say?
Pardon me?
Do you want more from the line of scrimmage on both front lines on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, well, I think our offensive line can do a little better in the run game, and they will. We'll make some adjustments here.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for the time. We do appreciate it. Again, it is a rainy evening here in Lawrence with the Jayhawks on top of Louisiana Tech by a score of 13-0. Time for us to head into those nice, warm studios in L.A. and join Michael Eaves and DeMarco Farr, guys.
All right, Emily, thanks a lot. Yeah, nice and warm, no rain here in Southern California.
Some sun.
A little bit. Welcome inside the College Football Saturday halftime show studios. Got a lot to get to coming up.
Chilly night. I mean, a chilly one in September. And welcome back to Lawrence, Kansas. Well, looking at some of the guys that stood out in the first half, and as you look across the board, don't forget, and Gary, you know it, Taylor Bennett did not have a lot of time to throw the football.
Well, Taylor Bennett had to throw some balls away, which is why he's only 8 of 22 trying to save those sacks. Good pressure by the Kansas defense, and Todd Reesing and company with Desmond Briscoe very efficient with the football. You know, not a lot of points on the board so far in this ball game, but plenty of production.
Let's head back downstairs now and join Emily Jones.
Coach Dooley, that drive, that ended in the interception. How bad did that hurt your offense?
Well, we had 2 good drives on offense and came away with no points. So we got to run the ball a little bit better this half, and we got to finish the drives.
You're definitely still in this ball game. It's just a 13-0 lead for Kansas. What do you do to get back in it?
Well, it's been a track meet, but we played pretty good in the red zone. So we got to do a little better job out in the field and not give them all those yards, and then we got to get some points on the board.
How is the weather playing a factor in this one?
I don't think it's a factor. It's more they're a good football team, and we're not playing our best.
All right, Coach, best of luck in the second half. We appreciate the time.
Thank you, Emily. We had a really good conversation with Derek Dooley earlier this week, and you could just tell in talking to him his honesty, his candor, and just a stand-up guy from good stock. And as you look at those numbers, don't forget his dad, 25-year run in the SEC at Georgia, Gary. Real good program, 6 SEC titles, so he knows what it takes.
He knows what it takes, and he probably told his team at halftime, hey, we've got to do things a little bit better here. We've got to be able to get some pressure on the quarterback, which they haven't had, and they didn't have the time of possession like they had last week against Mississippi State. Did not have the opportunities there. They came away with no points on the long drive we talked about, so I'm sure he's trying to get his troops headed in the right direction here, and probably his dad's sitting a little bit of tutelage on how to do that as well.
Brandstetter kicks it away, and it's going to be back. First return for Phillip Beck, as he takes it across the 20 and weaves his way nicely. Tripped up past the 30, out to the 34. Dakota Lewis got to him right around the ankles. Otherwise, it's going to be a big return for Phillip Beck, the senior from Crosby, Texas. And we were just talking about coming from good stock. It's as good as it gets, Gary.
Yeah, Coach Dooley there addressing the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. Involved in the program, but he's very much supporting what his son's doing, and kind of a legacy there. You got a couple of coaches, a father and a son, still in the football game.
Patrick Jackson out there in the backfield with Anthony Harrison. Let's see what kind of adjustments they do make as they go with the 2 tight end set. And Bennett wheeling against the grain, takes a pop, and that was the middle line issue once again. As they said, Taylor Bennett took way too many hits in the opener, and he's getting hit once again.
Well, the pressure's been there. There's no doubt about it. Kansas has been relentless on their pressure. Joe Mortensen, this time the linebacker comes through, and he's been through there several times tonight, hitting the quarterback, and just as he's throwing the ball away, good contact there, and good job by the quarterback, Bennett, throwing the ball away and saving a negative play.
Hanging tough. Young man who started last year at Georgia Tech. Going to be 2nd and 10 from the 34. Coming up, they hear the checkoff. And the change of play, Patrick Jackson. Pocket holds up better. And now he's going for the deep ball. And overshooting Shane Womack, the senior from Greensburg, Louisiana, by a good margin. Barfield with him on the sideline, the defensive back. So it's going to be 3rd and long once again for Taylor Bennett. They were 7 of 7 on 3rd downs on that drive. They're 7 of 10 so far, and now facing a 3rd and still 10.
Yeah, this is a young man, Phillip Live is here, that I thought that they were trying to get the ball to him quite a bit in the first half. Didn't happen. Only 3 touches on the night so far for Phillip Live, so he needs to get going here in this offense. He's their biggest play threat.
Underneath, little bubble screen, and it's lost. Going right to the big guy underneath. Picking it up, Jamal Green.
Well, that was Phillip Live as they threw that ball too, and he just got this line as he got into traffic there. Came right back to the Kansas Jayhawks defense. Well, you're looking for make big plays here. You're trying to get a little bubble screen here set up to your speedy receiver, and he comes back forward. I'm not sure he had complete control of that football. That might not be a fumble on a reception there. That's maybe reviewed. Does he make a football move after a catch?
It's being reviewed.
Yeah, I'm not sure he had enough control of that football, and nonetheless, it was knocked out and could be Kansas's football.
Yeah, it was the guy who seems like he's in on just about every play for Kansas, Mortensen, gets a piece. That is going to be Jamal Green, the tackle, picking it up. So a tough break once again for Louisiana Tech.
Now here's another look at it here. You see on the backside the ball coming out. And here's Jamal Green. Hey, look what I found.
At one point in my life, I was a running back. It may have been Pop Warner, but I was a running back.
That's a quarterback with a block tackle also.
It's a big guy carrying the football at 6'4". They list him at 300, so that means he's probably about 310, 320. Sophomore from Kansas City, Kansas. It's like Todd Reese. They list him at 5'11". So what does that tell you? He's 5'9", 5'10"?
Joe. Just don't believe the numbers. Don't trust the numbers.
It's the opening 26 seconds to the second half. As Gerald Wright is the referee for the Big 12, assessing the situation.
Talk about the height of the quarterbacks. The interesting piece in one of the local papers here this morning about the height of all the Big 12 quarterbacks, and Reesing was, at the lower end of that pool, because you get down to Sam Bradford and company, and you look on down to Graham Harrell. They get a little taller than him.
Yeah, and Chase Daniel's not a real tall guy either, basically 6 feet.
And Cody Hawkins does a very efficient job, and he's the smallest of the group. So I don't think that the height factor really makes a big key factor in what you're able to do with the football. It's just being able to know and see what you're seeing in front of you to make great decisions with the football.
Probably has something to do with the blocking schemes, doesn't it?
And we'll take one more look at it here. They got this play in a review, and that was a bang-bang drop. I'm not sure that that's going to be enough to overturn the call on the field, but that's what they're looking at now. Was there a clean catch, a football move, and then the ball was to come out? If those two things did not happen, it may not be ruled a catch.
Kansas has dominated non-conference opponents at home in recent years under Mark Mangino. In fact, last year, they outscored them on average in their 4 non-conference games here, 54-6. So with that said, Louisiana Tech keeping it in check.
There's no doubt about that. Kansas has done a great job against non-conference opponents and scoring a lot of points defensively here just so far, allowing 13 points in this ball game. It's been a decent night for Derek Dooley's football team.
Well, it's a close one if it's taking this long.
Yeah, well, it really is.
There's indecision upstairs.
It's bang, bang. That's what I mean by that. It happens very, very quickly. And, we watch plays in slow motion, and the replay officials like to watch it in real speed. So we'll see how this goes.
After review, the receiver never possessed the ball. We have an incomplete pass. In 4th down, timer reset the game clock to 14:41.
See, Gary Reasons has the option up here because he is that good. His eyesight is that good that he can watch it frame by frame. And he did it again.
No, we didn't watch it frame by frame. We get to slow it down, but the replay officials, they can slow it down if they like. Most times they tell us they like to see it in real action because that's what they're used to calling on the field. And
how big a save is that, though, for Louisiana Tech? Otherwise, it's inside the 20. Well, 1st and 10 for Kansas.
Yeah, it could be a 40-yard difference here if they get a decent punt and coverage on it. So you're looking to flip the field here with the punt team out there.
Chris Cagle. A very take-charge guy, as we talk to the coaching staff. And unusual for a punter to be that kind of guy, but he's that kind of leader. A former high school quarterback. He'll punt it away. Senior from Baton Rouge, first-team All-WAC last year. And Damon Patterson waits back at the 20. Another wobbler. Almost end over end for Cagle. And a Kansas hop. It hits one of the Jayhawks there in the back.
Yeah, but
it was touched right by Louisiana Tech. It hit Angus Quigley.
Yeah, so that's what's called illegal touching by the kick coverage team. And once it's illegally touched, it doesn't matter what happens. It's going to be turned over to Kansas. So there's not an opportunity for Louisiana Tech, even though it did touch a Kansas player, to recover the football. It's called illegal touching.
Yeah, Louisiana Tech tried to bat it when it took that Kansas hop. And they did get a fingertip on it. So now Kansas is going to have it 1st and 10. They'll put it down at the Jayhawks 34.
Ball will be placed right here, Kansas ball.
We got it covered.
Coach Dooley didn't see it that way.
Well, Holiday and Express Sideline Report. Let's check in with Emily Jones. Emily.
Well, guys, I am with Mike McCormick, known as Big Mike around these parts, and the newest inductee into the Kansas Jayhawks Ring of Honor. Mike, what was that like for you at halftime?
It's a great thrill. It's a great honor joining the other 15 that were there, and I'm just thrilled with it.
You had a lot of thrills in your life. 6 Pro Bowls. You played 8 years for the Cleveland Browns. You inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1985. The accolades continue to roll in for you.
They do. And have 47 years in the NFL is something, and it was a great life. I love the game of football, and I'm glad the Hawks are winning.
How exciting is it for you to see this program resurge the way it has?
Oh, great, because, they were down for so long. And then to have them come out and play like they did last year and really be the team that they were last year of they seem to enjoy each other. They enjoy the game of football, and it's a real great team effort.
Okay, now this play is being reviewed. I'm going to call on your football expertise right now because you told me before we came on exactly the way this one should be called. Give it to me.
It should be. They touched it first. After they touch it, the Hawks can't lose the ball.
All right, you guys heard it right here from Mike McCormick. I'm taking his word for it. Back up to you.
All right, Emily.
That's illegal touching. That's exactly right. But I think that Coach Dooley, maybe he didn't see the illegal touch. You know, if he saw the illegal touch, he'd understand. But his vantage point down there may not have allowed him to do that. Maybe he's thinking that the ball really was not touched. And I'm not sure if we have a replay or not of the
It looked like
Louisiana Tech player that was reaching up and swinging at the football. If he touched it, it certainly is going to be illegal touch.
Looks like it grazed his fingertips.
Okay, here we'll take a look at the ball. Goes up. Does he touch the ball? That's a judgment call on the field. If it was judgment on the field that he touched it or not, that's what they're trying to review right now.
In the live play, it looked like it grazed his fingertips as he tried to bat it when it took that Kansas hop, the way it ricocheted.
So that's Quinn Harris, number 37, coming down and got his hand up there for Louisiana Tech.
And you can't blame Derek Dooley.
No, you got to take a look at it. You know, if he thinks that he didn't touch, maybe Quinn Harris came over and said, "Coach, I did not touch that football." And that would definitely give him an opportunity, but I'm not sure if we have any other looks at that or not here from our replay.
Well, now getting back to what Mark Mangino said when he walked off the field, and Derek Dooley gave credit to Kansas.
The field is confirmed. There was first touching by Louisiana Tech. The ball will be placed, however, at the 38-yard line.
Now let's see if there is, now that Kansas gets it.
Timer, reset the clock to 14:36.
Is it just me, or does the first 24 seconds of the second half seem like it took 45 minutes? Now, back to Jake Sharp and Jock Crawford for Mark Mangino, because he had issues running the football. I don't care if they won, and won easily last week. They had, out of their top two backs, 20 carries for 61 yards, and in the first half, they only averaged 3 yards a pop, 15 carries for 45 yards. So he's got concerns with his ground game right now.
Well, you know, you've got to be able to block for him and so forth. And, you know, we're talking about McCormick here. You know, get your guys to block and get open holes for your running back. And, you know, he was a good job in his day, the guy that retired the jersey for him, Mr. McCormick. And this offensive line, they've got open holes, Joel. What my point is that they've got to make holes for this running back, those running backs to get through there. It's just not an easy task on their own. There's no star, though, in this running back core. It's going to be a running back by committee for Kansas this season.
It'll be at the 38, 1st and 10 Jayhawks. Once again, real good field position for Kansas. Up by 13 on their first offensive series of the second half. Sharp, nothing out in front, and he's dropped for a loss of a yard back to the 37. Opportunity now for a sonic flashback. And Emily Jones just talked about a guy who, boy, led the charge here very successfully for the Jayhawks, didn't he? Mike McCormick.
Yeah, watch the right tackle. A pulling right tackle. You love it. He gets around and he seals and kick out block and gets guys down on the ground. That's what you want to have from a big offensive tackle. And Mike McCormick, one of the best ever here at Kansas, and continues to work. A little bit different gear than what they're wearing these days, but nonetheless, getting it done for him.
And honored, deservedly so, in the Ring of Honor here as he was presented. Fans here at halftime. Reesing on 2nd and 11. Running out of options. And then sliced down from behind by the underneath tackle, DeAnthony Smith, the junior from Pickering, Louisiana. His third year as a starter.
Good coverage in the secondary, Joel, and finally an opportunity to get to the quarterback, Reesing. They have not done so tonight, but a good opportunity that time, and they got it accomplished.
So Reesing looking at a 3rd and long. So the Jayhawk defense got it done with a 3 and out to start things off. Now is that going to be the same for the Bulldogs defensive unit? Jayhawks just 3 of 7 in the 3rd down tries. It looked like frustration from Reesing looking over to the sideline for the play call. They pick up the man over the middle. It's Briscoe on the catch, and I was talking about the pass rush because they accounted for the extra rusher. Briscoe's dropped immediately on a nice open field play by Weldon Brown.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just short, though. It'll be 4th and 1, 4th and 2, though. Briscoe coming across the field. He got a first down and a nice catch on this in the first half. Similar play, similar situation, but just a little bit short, so the Bulldogs going to turn the Jayhawks away again on defense.
So the punter in for the first time for Kansas. That's Alonzo Rojas. who had a good start to his Kansas career last week. Sophomore from Miami's Killian High School. The transfer from Bowling Green hangs up a high one and back. Takes it in inside the 15 in traffic and down back at the 13. So that's where Louisiana Tech will have it when we return. Sluggish beginning, to say the least, to the start of the second half. Kansas close, so close to that good barbecue in Kansas City. Jackson trying to go off right tackle, a couple of yards up to the 15-yard line as the Kansas defense pitching a shutout. And some little change here in Kansas. Bill Young had been a co-defensive coordinator. Clint Bowen, his co. Well, Bill Young departs. It's now Clint Bowen.
He gets to move up to the task and doing a good job with here. And he's a former KU player, so he knows the culture here. He knows and understands the program. And spent 5 years at KU as a special teams coordinator. Now he's moved on up to the coordinating role and doing a nice job with his group.
The blitz on Bennett, but it'll be a false start. Dead ball foul coming up against Louisiana Tech. Don't tell Bennett that after he took a pop.
Prior to the snap, false start, 43, Louisiana Tech, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Clint Bowen, he goes back a ways and actually a player here for Kansas in his heyday and doing a nice job on the outside. Almost a horse collar tackle there, and I think it gets a pick here on this play. Good job by Clinton. Didn't fall far from the tree. Grew up in Lawrence, played high school ball here. And now he's probably got his dream job as a coordinator here at Kansas.
Markov back to the 10, makes it second at about 13. Bennett threw right to, and he didn't expect it, Mike Rivera, because his receiver, Livas, never saw it.
Well, Mike needed some Velcro on his jersey that time because he certainly didn't get his arms up. Didn't expect that football. See the pressure they're coming, and bingo, right on the 40.
He was the target.
You know, linebackers are there for a reason, Joel. You know, that happens sometimes. Some of those guys are better on the offensive side, some on the defensive side, and Rivera probably better off where he's at.
I'm not pointing a finger at you.
No.
Linebackers. 13-0 Kansas on the delay. Jackson tried to make a miss. Needed another block. Rivera drops him. And it's going to be Louisiana Tech punting it deep from their own territory once again.
Yeah, good defensive stand there by the Jayhawks. Not allowing anything to sort of get going there for Louisiana Tech. And going to flip the field. They're going to just kick the ball down again and try to get good field position for Kansas and their offense coming back. You know, special teams for Louisiana Tech last week were key in the football game and really helped them propel them to win the game with coverage, with kicks, with returns as well. So they've been playing pretty decent special teams. Now Kansas in their own right, they've been a team in the past that's had pretty good efforts on special teams as well.
Cagle close to his own goal line, had to hurry it, and it's his best of the day.
Well, we'll get a return here.
Patterson from the 39 on the corner. And didn't go out of bounds. Now just barely bumped out. Everybody relaxed like he was going to go out of bounds. He didn't stop, though, as he's knocked out at the 48. What a block by Stephen Foster.
Coverage by number 27.
So Kansas is going to have it in great field position, plus territory. Leading by 13. Territory, and we'll remind you tomorrow NFL on Fox regular season. It all starts. Exciting twin bill. First, Bucks matching up the Saints, or you could see Rams, Eagles, Seahawks, Bills, Lions, Falcons. Second half, Cowboys battling the Browns, or some of you see the Panthers taking on LG and the Chargers, or the Cardinals, 49ers. It starts with the 4-drive, 1 pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific and HD, only on Fox. Wet Lawrence, Kansas is the site tonight. And the diehards, they're here still. Angus Quigley in the backfield. Starting a series for the first time. With a slant, turn in. Briscoe's got it. Makes a miss. Look out. Open field. Inside the 25. Will they get him? Throw him down to the 10, to the 5. He's in. What a magnificent effort by Desmond Briscoe.
Number 80, Desmond Briscoe.
Flag down way back, though.
Well, that's going to be roughing on the quarterback. They hit Todd Reesing late. I think this is going to stand as a touchdown.
Number 58 defense.
Yeah, and Desmond Briscoe catches another ball across the middle. I tell you, this is a tremendous effort on his part of making something happen after the catch. But look at the count the missed tackles. There's one missed tackle, and there's two. Desmond Briscoe still going. Little judder step there. 3 missed tackles, 4 missed tackles. He takes the 5th tackler into the end zone for the score. What an effort.
So 48-yard touchdown reception. Reesing to Briscoe. Sophomore out of Dallas who had 43 grabs last year as a true freshman. And not a bad night so far with a lot of second half to play. 7 for $148. And that is the 2nd touchdown of the night for the Jayhawks. Rancetter in for the point after. Out of the hold of backup quarterback Kerry Meyer. So we saw as a true freshman last year as Branstetter splits the uprights. Briscoe uncounting for 7 touchdowns in 43 grabs. So he was a high percentage guy to begin with, and you can see why. Making a miss in the Louisiana Tech secondary. Plenty of speed and the maneuverability. The Jayhawks up by 20. Desmond Briscoe with a 48-yard touchdown reception. A keeper for the Kansas Jayhawks and only a sophomore. So we look at the Suzuki scoring drive. And it was a long one. It took a lot of snaps, didn't it?
Great effort by Des Briscoe. That was fun to watch.
Livis is back, going back deep, waiting for the kick. And because of the roughing the passer, it'll be assessed on the kick. This should go out of the end zone for Branstetter, as he's going to be able to tee it up to 45 instead of the 30. So just about 5 minutes gone by in the second half, and will it get away from Louisiana Tech now?
Yeah, might he be able to kick it into those new seats they have down in the south end zone here?
Yeah, wouldn't want to hit anybody down
there. No, wouldn't want to do that.
So Branstetter's first game as Jayhawk, and they're keeping him busy with a couple of field goals, a couple of extra points, and now right at the base of the crossbar. It's out of the back line of the end zone. And wonder why we were talking about those comfortable chairs. Emily Jones.
Guys, I was so ready for that ball. It was coming right at me. But anyway, I am in the south end zone. This is one of the newest additions here to the stadium. And as you can see, it is the lap of luxury. I mean, you've got like leather recliners with cup holders. Perfect for the rain. You've got the awning covering you over here. The family, the Anderson family addition over here, the football complex is done. This is it. What you guys can't see, there are flat screen plasma TVs right in front of me where I can see all the action, all the replays, as if I had to look too far on the field. And here's the extra bonus. Oh goodness.
Livis is, can they catch him from behind? One man, Livis from behind, pulled down. Hard to believe. What speed. Stuckey, the safety, caught up with him. I didn't think anybody get the little guy.
Well, Emily, you're going to get a good replay in that screen down there for this one, because Livis does a good job here in the little reverse, and the blocking is superb out in front, and there's a lane for him to run. Great speed. We knew he had that. He needs some big plays from him, but Stuckey run him down at the 2-yard line. That's a great effort.
What are the odds somebody's going to get Stuckey from behind? Or rather, Livis from behind, and Stuckey did it. 78 yards on the reverse. They tried that early in the game.
It just didn't block. The hole didn't open up early in the ball game, but that one parted perfectly for Louisiana Tech.
On 1st and goal, Jackson trying to get to the outside. Into the backfield. Guess who? Darryl Stuckey again, the junior from Kansas City.
Now he says, I can step up across the line of scrimmage and make plays too. Young man showing good speed. Watch him just come pressure to the outside, and good firm tackle.
So it's back to 6 on a loss of 4, and that's kind of the story for the running game, unfortunately, for Louisiana Tech. They have not been able to take the heat off Bennett with a balanced attack. Bennett out of the backfield in a shotgun. Little turn in and thrown behind his intended target, trying to get it to Josh Wheeler. He's already got a couple of grabs. Barfield in the coverage.
Well, this just shows you the heart of the KU defense and being proud of not allowing teams to score, especially when you get inside the red area as they are here. Ball thrown, as you said, Joel, behind, and if he had thrown it out in front, it probably was going to get hit by the big defensive lineman coming across his face.
Well, they hung their hat on defense around here last year, one of the very best in the nation. And now it's a 3rd and goal from the 6. with a shutout working for Kansas. 6 minutes gone here in the third. Livis the motion man. Showing the blitz. And the blitz is coming over the middle off the fingertips of Livis. He was worried about the man behind him that time. The heat came. It was Stuckey again, or Megan Strozier.
Yeah, I think that was Philip Strozier, the nickelback, who came in and did a good job of coming downhill behind Livis. Knocking that ball away, so Louisiana Tech going to have to try a field goal here.
Strozier out of Rockhurst High School. One of the better high school programs for a long time here in Kansas City. Ostricker, 3 for 3. 28, 48, and 50 yards last week in the win over Mississippi State. And it's going to be a 28-yard attempt. He pushed it, blocked it out to the right. They're still not on the board. Talk about frustrating.
Think they take pride in defense around here?
And Mark Mangino, don't forget, he was an offensive coach before the head coaching job here.
Now, no doubt about that the ball bounces off the top of the right upright and goes out.
Yeah, glances right off it outside it. So the shutout continues. After the miss from 28 yards away. It'll be a 1st and 10 for Kansas. Put it to the 20. And Angus Quigley. 2 arms around the football. Not a bad idea the way he wrapped it. As he gets across the 23, close to the 24, Grigsby got to him, a sophomore from Wright and Ruston.
And what I think Ed Warner, the offensive coordinator, would really like to see here for his Kansas offense is a good job of running the football and running it inside. And haven't had a lot of success tonight doing that. Averaging around 3 yards per carry. Like to have a little bit of a breakout there with one of these tailbacks making an effort there and get some good yardage for him.
Reese flooding the left side, looking over to that side of the field. Now last option, Quigley. And Quigley making a miss. Got 2 when it seemed like he wasn't going to get anything. If anything, a loss of 3 or 4. Brought down by Smith. Tough kid. Angus Quigley. Great football man. First down marker brought to you by Overstock.com. Save time and fuel by shopping comfortably at home with Overstock.com. At home with you. You realize we are only 30 to 40 minutes away from some of the best barbecue in America. I'll drive.
I know you'll always drive.
Gates, we'll get some ribs. We'll get ribs. Yeah, we'll get Gates ribs. We'll get the spare ribs, and we'll go to Arthur Bryant's for our beef sandwich. You're covered. 3rd and 5 from the 25. Now Reese trying to ad-lib, in trouble, and finds the open receiver. Patterson, look out. Kid's got some wheels. Making a miss in the secondary. 1st and 10 to the 31. Baker finally caught up, but the true freshman from Dallas, Damon Patterson at 5'9", 175.
Well, Patterson caught the early touchdown in this ball game. He's in the middle here at the top of the screen, and this is going to come down. The defense is going to get. They think the ball's going to be thrown on timing, but it doesn't. So he just works back away from the defender. Good job of getting back there and making something happen after you catch that football.
And Reesing's only a junior, don't forget. He's a guy out of Austin, Lake Travis High School. So they've got him next year. He just doesn't panic. He consistently surveys the field. And now he's got all day. On the comeback trail, it's good for Wilson. What a scoop by Jonathan Wilson, the sophomore from Houston. They got some Texans on their roster just like Mizzou, don't they?
No doubt about that. They've got good players here at Kansas. Mark Mangino's staff has done a great job of recruiting Texas, Kansas, and all over the country for that matter. And Reesing, you look at him here in the pocket and the heady quarterback. Good strong arm delivery down there to Wilson, who comes back and makes a nice grab.
Well, that's Jonathan Wilson, not Anthony Wilson, the jazz guitarist, but Jonathan Wilson, the sophomore. And boy, showed good hands. Quigley lowers his shoulder on the spin. Well, there's a little fire in that line now, isn't there? Down to the 12. Brought down by Quinn Harris, the weak side backer.
Well, I think the thing that makes this offense go is the balance. The balance you have running the football and passing the football. Like I said, they haven't done a lot running the ball, but as you pass the ball down the field, it's going to open up the run game and vice versa. Offensive line takes pride in whatever they're doing, pass blocking or run blocking. And offense very efficient a year ago in their 12-win season. And getting out to a good start again here in 2008.
They're looking for their 11th consecutive home win overall, 15th straight against non-conference opponents. But we'll talk about the second half of their season with their schedule a little bit later tonight. And it is tough. Quickly on the misdirection again. Didn't fool anybody. Good play underneath by Nolan Darby, senior inside backer. So it's going to bring up 3rd and long. They've had the big play.
Well, they definitely had the big play. You see the linebacker scrape up inside here and make a nice firm tackle. And need some of that, get some negative plays there, which they had.
Yeah, it's the consistency they're looking for, Gary, in the 5-6 yard runs that they have not found over the first game and a half.
No, they've had those shorter runs, 3-4 yards or less. And that's not what they like to have. When you spread people out, you feel like you're going to be able to gash some runs for 8-10 yards at a pop, and that's just not coming yet for Kansas.
3rd and 8, ball to the 13 of Louisiana Tech. Long count this time by Reese. Little double clutch action. Man, making a miss again. This time it's Raymond Brown, the senior from St. Louis, a guy who converted from defensive back this year to wide receiver. And he's about 4 yards shy at the 9.
Just making people miss. You got a missed tackle there on the outside, but still going to be a 4th down. So Louisiana Tech turns them away here, at least for a field goal opportunity. You see Brown going to catch the football and make him miss after that missed tackle.
Number 14, Jacob Brandstetter.
Brandstetter in for the long field goal by his standards because he's had a couple of chip shots tonight. But this is going to be outside of the 16. Call it a 26, 27 yarder. It'll be Kerry Meyer on the hold. And Brandstetter, a perfect 3 for 3 to start his Jayhawk career. So a 23-0 lead now for Kansas. Inside of 5 left in the 3rd. And officially we'll call it a 26-yard field goal by Brandstetter. Yeah, looking now at our Hampton Inn touchdown of the game thus far. Is there any question? 48-yarder Desmond Briscoe.
What an effort. Des Briscoe does a good job here breaking tackle after tackle en route to the end zone. And tremendous effort on his part of just staying alive and keeping his feet and getting that touchdown.
Kansas had some short drives like that one play 48 yards. Earlier they had an 80-yard drive. It was only 3 minutes off the clock. That was 8 plays, 71 yards, and it barely took 4 minutes. A quick striking offense of the Jayhawks. So as much as we talk about 9.5 minutes, and Louisiana Tech hanging onto the football doesn't mean a thing if you can't get it in. So time of possession misleading, very misleading. Jackson is going to be deep, not Livis. Back with Philip Beck. Yeah, on the kick, it'll be Beck. Back at the 2. Just a little cruise over the left side on a wall. Man, past the 23, they'll put him down. So let's see if there's any opportunity for recovery now for Louisiana Tech on our Suzuki scoring drive. I mentioned that's a long drive, but Kansas's standards tonight, 4 minutes off the clock.
And 8 plays and covered to 71 yards. Pretty good job of moving the ball down the field and putting points up there. Louisiana Tech, you know, one of the things that I haven't really noticed from this team is a capability for a vertical passing game. They've had too much pressure by Kansas's defense on the quarterback, and he's had to throw the ball away too many times. So haven't had a chance to take the ball down the field. And what that allows, it allows the secondary to really tighten up on the receivers.
Yeah, Daniel Porter at tailback. And Bennett, blindside, he was going to take it and off target barely.
Wow, and that was
wide open Anthony Harrison.
No doubt that he was wide open, Joel. There was a miscommunication in the Kansas defense. If that ball was on timing and hit him, you're going to see him here. He's going to be available now at the bottom of the screen. You're going to see the receiver right there down the field and watch him come out here. There's nobody there. This ball is just overthrown by Bennett. Wow, that's one that got away from him.
Well, it's a tight end. And do you think a wide receiver maybe can adjust a little bit easier than a big guy like Harrison? So now it's going to be 2nd and 10 from the 25. Porter stays in the backfield. They're looking for the first down of the second half. And doing a good job of the flag down out of the secondary, and also one from the referee, Arist Wright, in on the hit. Let's find out about and they may be offsetting.
holding. Number 43 offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Yeah, they saw the same hold, and it's on the tight end, Dustin Mitchell.
Yeah, just giving too much cloth there. Pull him down and do a tackle there. You see him taking him to the ground.
So that wipes out about an 8-yard gain for Daniel Porter, and those have been tough to come by for Derek Dooley and Louisiana Tech. Down by 23. They've had a couple of good opportunities tonight to get on the board. First half, long drive, interception of the end zone, and the missed field goal, a short one. Nothing doing that time.
Number 23,
James Holt bringing down Patrick Jackson, the senior from Altus, Oklahoma. Honorable mention all Big 12. And we talked about those three at the top of the telecast, the three linebackers.
Just look at that penetration there coming inside. No doubt about that. Getting in the backfield. As an offensive lineman, you've got to hold those guys out. This team going without their offensive line coach, Petey Payrow, who in the preseason training camp had to have a triple bypass heart surgery and not with the football team.
Bennett finally had some time, and then it collapsed. It'll be Jeff Wheeler, the defensive end, a sophomore from Houston. Put a half a sack last week in his first career start. Now he's got one solo.
Now this defense is just shining now for Kansas, and they can kind of smell it here, protecting their turf, which they do so well, and one-on-one on the outside. Nice effort there, nice rush.
Formation for Louisiana Tech.
So the Kansas defense getting better as the game progresses. With 3:13 and counting left in the third. They've yet to give up the first down in the second half on 4 possessions. Now by the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. It'll be Patterson waiting for the Cagle punt. He didn't have a lot of space back there, did he? And Patterson, simultaneous, but no, they're going to say there was contact prior to the ball going into his hands. First one down there, the guy that came under him, Alex Anderson for Louisiana Tech. No penalty to compound the problems for the Bulldogs.
Well, 2 things on that. First of all, you close the gap. You give him its illegal kick-catch interference there, so that's going to be it. But then he hits him low, which was really surprising. And maybe he's just trying to slow down and hold his momentum. I don't really know, but nonetheless, it's definitely interfered with.
Where's the halo when you need one?
A minute ago, I talked about Petey Payrow not with the team. They've got Art Cahoe, former Miami line coach. He's now working with the offensive line in Petey's absence, but I know he's listening back home in Ruston, Louisiana, and want to shout out to Petey, a former Northwestern Demon, my alumni. And
Interference with the opportunity to make the catch. 15-yard penalty. Spot of the foul. First down.
But you asked Eric Dooley about Petey, and it was good to hear that he is on the road.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely on the road to recovery. Petey, you're not going to get him down. I know him too well, and he's a great player. He had a great career in the National Football League and one of the most respected line coaches. 20 years at Louisiana Tech. I tell you, he's been at that program a long time and one of the best line coaches in college football.
So the mark-off will take it down to about the 41 of Tech. Final 3 minutes of the third, which has been a real slow, uneven third 15 minutes of play. Whistles, flags, reviews. So now it's going to be Reesing and the offense back out there, and they can ice it pretty early tonight.
I'm seeing too much yellow on the field, Joel.
Yeah.
They've got another flag out here.
He's brought up groceries. Groceries are where we're headed, and it's going to be a while.
Unsportsmanlike. Kansas, 15-yard penalty.
Ooh.
The first is 25.
Well, there's going to be a coach on this near sideline not happy.
There must have been somebody saying something.
Well, that may have been on the coach.
Emily Jones, I know she's on top of it for us. Sharp in the backfield, along with Quigley. It was a dead ball foul, so it's going to be first and 25. It's a long throw for a screen. And Patterson, yes, Jonathan Wilson tried to block for him. Got about 5 to the midfield stripe, brought down by Stevan House. Boy, it takes so long when you go to the wide side on a throw like that for a slip screen.
And all they're looking for, though, is that one block.
Right.
If you can get that one guy out of the way, you got a chance to make a big play, and that's what they're trying for in that, with that long throw.
Little guy can throw it, though. That's 5'11", Todd Reese. He has hit 7 consecutive. He has 25 of 30 for the game now. 338 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. I don't need to know a quarterback rating when I hear numbers like that. Dragging people along the way, Angus Quigley. He sounds like a guy who would drag you along the way. From the 39, he takes it. And now it's going to be 3rd and manageable.
Good job of popping through the hole here. A little misdirection in the backfield, and just works his way through there and just banging through guys.
So good job by Quigley. That young man is from Cleburne, Texas, at 6'2", 220 pounds. It continues to what we talked about earlier. Missouri, Kansas, and you could look at a lot of rosters in the Big 12 that have dumped into the Lone Star State. They have dipped in and taken a lot of talent. Now on 3rd down, blitz, and behind him, but still Patterson adjusted. Look out to the 15, to the 10. He's gone. Touchdown, Kansas.
Touchdown, Kansas. Number 28, Damon Patterson.
So much for a 1st and 25.
Well, they've got 3 guys out here. You got the group outside, and then they're going to take it across the middle of the field, and no one's going to catch him. Just look at this area up here that he's going to run through. There's no one there. He just outruns the rest of the defense. Excellent job by Patterson of running away from them, and Todd Reesing of finding an open crossing receiver. They've done that all night against this Louisiana Tech defense.
Brandstetter gets, no, he pulled it. It was wide left.
The kick is no good.
So
Kansas 29.
they missed one last week. They were 4 or 5 on extra point tries, and now another miss. Well, this young man, Gary, was 1st team All-State at both wide receiver and kick returner in Mesquite, Texas. Really gifted young kid.
Yeah, very talented. I'm sure that Mark Mangino is happy to have him here with his program. Be a good addition to this offense.
So they used true freshmen like Briscoe last year, and it paid off.
Look at the numbers
Now
there.
Patterson.
8 catches on the night, $130, and a couple of scores.
It comes with 1:21 to play here in the 3rd. So Kansas continues their roll at home, which is the 2nd longest winning streak at home in Jayhawk history. You've got to go back to a longer one. The only other one was 15 straight. You remember the years, don't you? 1908,
yeah,
09, and 1910. Hey.
Caught you.
Boy, while we're working up here.
Oh my goodness, we caught her. Look at that chair she's on. It's got the nice stitching back there, everything. She's got the big screen. She's got the groceries in front of her. I love your job, girl.
Listen, I am braving it out here in the rain. The least I can do is take a break, kick my feet up, eat some food, and enjoy this one. I had a front row seat for that last touchdown. It's the best part about these seats right here. They kick up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the smorgasbord doesn't hurt either.
No, not at all.
To the 23 on the return, it's Phillip Beck, brought down by Drew Dudley.
Yeah, it's got, yeah. In case you need to give those feet a little rest, which I think I've earned it tonight, guys.
Boy, oh boy. Gary, I think we'll let reasons be the judge of that.
She's fine. She can hang out down there. She's doing a good. It's the weather. You know, it's a bad hair day for a gal down there.
Well, you're insulting them along the way, aren't you? From the 23, 1st and 10. It'll be Jackson to the backfield. Quick one. Goes over the near side. And it goes outside. First catch for Eric Feenke, a true freshman from Santee, California, at 5'8", 165. So not a big guy, but he showed some decent wheels. Barfield pushes him out. And the gain is about 4 yards. That's that had been 9 consecutive incompletions. His first over the last 10 tries for Taylor Bennett, young man who went to Lafayette High School in St. Louis, the same high school as Ryan Howard, home run hitter for the Philadelphia Phillies. Final minute of the 3rd, and a forgettable 3rd for Louisiana Tech. Bennett out of bounds, losing yardage.
You know, Joel, when we talked to Derek Dooley and offense coordinator Frank Cefalo about this Kansas football team, particularly the Kansas defense, they said they are tremendously well coached, first and foremost, but they are big, they're strong, they're physical, and they continually play hard all the time. They're going to punish you in the secondary and the linebackers and all of them. You take the linebackers, the group of them, they're 6'3", 250 pounds, but when they bring it to you, I mean, they pack a wallop. Nothing has gone down the field against Kansas except for the one long run there on the little reverse by Livas.
Well, Bennett is trying to pick up their first down of the second half. The blitz comes from Rivera. Bennett doesn't have a choice. And dumped on the run by Darryl Stuckey. They got some speed on this defense.
Well, what's really good about Darryl Stuckey, what he does is get off the block. He gets off the block and makes a play.
Only 67 offense, decline, 4th down.
I mean, anybody who can play football like this, Darryl Stuckey's had a nice night, and he's going to be at the top of the screen up here. And he's in coverage, and a receiver coming across and sees him there, and then he just sees the block and then gets off of it. That's what you like to see in a defender in the open space.
And I know it's early, but we've got some candidates in this game for Kansas for some players of the week in the Big 12. And Stuckey stands out over 3/4 of play, as that's going to be the end of 3. Well, there's a guy defensively who we've singled out tonight and has done a good job. And let's see if Reesing sticks around much more, because he's already thrown for 383 yards. That kind of night for the Kansas Jayhawks. It was picked up for them ever since the first quarter. 29-0 through 3, as we'll be right back to Lawrence. College football Saturday continues from Lawrence, Kansas. Welcome back once again for the final 15 minutes of regulation. Joel Myers, Gary Reasons, Emily Jones under the canopy in the end zone. And now it's going to be Cagle punting it away once again, and that's been the story for Louisiana Tech. They have not been able to move the football at all in the second half. They had a very efficient drive in the first half, but came away without points, and it was a crusher. 9.5-minute drive. Low line drive, returnable one for Damon Patterson from the 36. Got a lane. Kid's got some speed, and he's out of the midfield strike. It was part of our Whataburger what a play, because he had the first touch on our play. But this kind of night has been there all the way. Patterson, Briscoe, look at I found.
You know, opportunities for the ball, and they're going Kansas's way, no doubt about that tonight.
So all the breaks, all the bounces working for the Jayhawks. But you make your own breaks, and they've had the advantage from the beginning. Well, Reason's already thrown for a career best 383, and he's back out there. As it's going to be quickly sliding sideways through the hole, making the most of the opportunity. Best run of the night by a tailback. He's down to the 38. Brought down by the free safety Baker. And 3 out of 4 is not bad, as they started with that 3 and out in the punt.
Gain of 13 on the play, 1st and 10.
So it would have been 17, but the missed extra point, but a 16-point third quarter for the Jayhawks. Looking for more now at the 38. It's the 38 of Louisiana Tech. And the ultimate for both teams right now is to keep the clock moving. Darby brought down Quigley as he tried to go between his center and guard on the right side. It's a gain of about 3.
You talk about these programs, Joel, and you talk about how, you know, how the evolution has become for Kansas, and it comes down to one word, and it's consistency. And Mark Mangino, with what he's done both offensively, defensively, and recruiting, trying to create a lot of consistency in their program, with their personnel, with what they're doing, with their coaching staff. We're talking about that as well. That's what they're striving for. Is he wish they get another one.
He caught it, he lost it, he gets it back. And they're going to say he never made that one step, that football move with possession. Coming across the middle, he knew there was going to be a pop waiting.
Hadn't had much trouble with the other ones coming across the field. This ball catches it. I think he makes a football move.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, that may be taking a look at again. So if you catch the ball squarely and you make 1 or 2 steps, that's considered a football move, which he does. He comes back, the ball comes loose. I think that's going to be ruled a fumble and a catch if they review it, but maybe not here late in the ball game. These replay officials, they look at these things, they say, is it a major impact in the ball game? And they're probably considering that one not.
Well, that's the key, the word impact. Does it impact the game? Because they want the game to move. Reese in trouble. Man, they finally get to it. Todd Reese. It's to Anthony Smith. The guys on the edge pushed him up.
You know, and that's a little difference between what he does and what Taylor Bennett does for Louisiana Tech. Todd Reesing's willing to try to make something happen with his feet. Taylor Bennett, he's going to throw the ball away and not take a sack. That's the mark of a pocket quarterback, and where Reesing is a little bit more of a scat back type quarterback. And who's got some ability to make something happen with his feet instead of perhaps get a sack. But when he's definitely in the pocket, it's collapsing around it. That's not the best decision.
Rojas in to punt it away. He had a 46-yard average in the opener last week. Short field this time, though, as the Tech did a good job defensively. 3 and out. And a real high one. Beck stays away from it. It'll roll inside the 10. And a good job of the Jayhawks. They did not touch it. He'll be back at about the 8-9 yard line. Yeah, will they bring offense back out there? And Gary Reese, you were talking about it while we were away. So you want to be a quarterback in Division I.
Yeah, you want to be a quarterback. Well, you got to have some toughness. And Taylor Bennett, he's tough. He's been in the pocket all night having to throw the ball away. But just look at these shots that he's been taking tonight, folks. That's a relentless defense there by the Kansas Jayhawks. And they know what to do with a quarterback. You put a lot of pressure on him and hit him and give good coverage in the secondary. And that's a formula for defensive success.
Nice hole that time opened up for Daniel Porter. As he races across the 20 out to the 23, dropped by Joe Mortensen. Before we went away on that break, you were talking about the consistency here at Kansas now. And while you bring up what's going on at Kansas, it's the 7th year for Mark Mangino. There's no doubt after talking to Derek Dooley and his staff, it's only their 2nd year. Yeah, it's only their 2nd year, but they've made some strides. Right. One of the things that they've been trying to do there is to establish some of the things that they need to get more quality football players into their program. And they're not the longest tenured Division 1A program either. Just in the late 80s, they became a 1A program, and they've kind of been moving along almost 20 years now as a Division 1A program. And one of the things they haven't done is necessarily commit to the facilities, the things that you need to have in place that really attract top quality athletes. That's one of the things that Derek Dooley has gotten started and really has changed. There are some new facilities and things for the Louisiana Tech program up in Ruston, Louisiana, that are attractive now to student athletes, and he feels that they're turning the corner now, being able to get some of those top athletes into their program. Gets it complete on the sideline as it's taken in by Josh Wheeler. And to tag that, when we started, well, Mark Mangino 7 years ago when we were all here his first year, they were on an old lumpy old field behind Allen Fieldhouse. Now they've got a new football office facility right next to the stadium. 2 huge fields side by side, practice facilities not far away, maybe another 100 yards from the football offices.
You can say all you want about recruiting, but, you know, those things are enticing to young student athletes coming here and they say, hey, this is a wow factor. And whoever you're bringing in as recruits, if you can show them, hey, we've got the tools here in place so that you're going to have a great college experience, we're going to make you a better player, we have the tools necessary to do that. That's the commitment that you make to your program and to the student athletes when they come here.
And guys, that Anderson Family Football Complex was a $31 million venture. It's 80,000 square feet. It's got housing only the football team and the football program, and they've got a weight room in there, the locker room, obviously, an audio-video room, also a hydrotherapy room. They've got everything they need right here within walking distance, which, as you guys know, Mark Mangino talked to us about it, how big that is to have everything right here.
Yeah, he said that half of that facility is actually built into the hill there. You see it there on the left, and as you look, that's looking from the south to the north through this stadium. So that's a tremendous complex that they have, all football. So right here, a good place for them to walk out, and immediately to the right of that on the east side of the stadium are the 2 practice fields, and they're just not drop dead gorgeous. Got anything you ever want out there.
Yeah, they've upgraded the facility completely, and Derek Dooley talked to us about it. Things they need to do and accomplish, and the consistency it will also bring.
Yeah, they've made a lot of changes to Joy Light Stadium there in Ruston, and a lot of other facility changes there that are underway, and that's what you need to do. You need to do those things because they're keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. You have to do those to attract the top talent.
That last pass was complete to Dennis Morris, but it was offensive pass interference, and that's why they took it all the way back and marked it off. As Patrick Jackson is brought down by the combination of Stuckey and Rivera over to the right side, past the 30, out to the 31-yard line. So we approach the 10-minute mark left. It's a shutout so far for Kansas. A couple of opportunities have been there to get on the board, though, for Louisiana Tech. 29-0 Jayhawks. After they beat Florida International last week, 40-10 here in Lawrence. Bennett going to the tight end, Dustin Mitchell. He spun around short of the first down by a couple by Joe Mortensen.
And we talked about the Kansas linebackers as we started this telecast tonight. James Holt, Joe Mortensen, Mike Rivera, those trio of linebackers, really they do a great job of leading this defense. All of them seniors, all of them great athletes in their own right. But what they do defensively, they tie the front of the defense to the back of the defense. What I mean by that is you're able to take care of the run game, and even also they assist in the pass rush, but they also do a good job in coverage. So those three linebackers really set the tone here for Kansas.
Bennett underneath, resourceful that time, getting the first down and going to Dustin Mitchell. Gary, are they across the board, those three linebackers, the most consistent threesome in the Big 12 going into the new season because of the experience? Three seniors that have all been at least honorable mention, if not first team all Big 12.
Well, they've all got the starts. They've got the experience. 27 starts now for a couple of them there. Joe Mortensen and Mike Rivera. James Holt, this will be his 17th start of his career. So that much playing experience gives you the ability to have a lot of consistency in your play, in the front seven, in the back seven, however you want to play those guys in there. So James Holt probably the guy who comes out on some nickel packages where they need two linebackers in there and gets replaced by a nickel back. But overall, those three players really are the ones that tie the front to the back.
Yeah, they've lost a couple of guys up front. McClintock, yeah, one in particular, the underneath tackle.
Well, you know, they got a guy who's a cornerback, Talib, who, you know, one of the best players in the conference and kind of a pretty good NFL start, I think.
I saw him during the preseason. He looks like a pro, like a veteran already.
Loved it when he was here in Kansas, and Coach Mangino just trying to figure out what's the best way to play him, offense, defense. And I think he fit in pretty well with everything they did.
It'll be Damon Patterson taking it back at the 12. Kid can escape, can he? Young man gets outside. Ran out of racing room on the sideline, so he is gone out of bounds to the 14. But the catalyst again, Todd Reesing. Career best night as he's already thrown for 383 yards. Kansas has it back deep in their own territory, and they've got it under control with a little more than 8.5 to play. You know, tonight's Polaris Ranger, hardest working player, is there any doubt? And a high percentage for his 383, 27 of 33 with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions.
How's that for the model of efficiency and working hard? And actually, it seemed kind of effortless to me. He's just a smart guy, knows what he's doing with it, and the play calling's been superb for him. Ted Warner, his offensive coordinator, giving a pretty good tutelage to that young man.
Yeah, let's give some credit to Spikes, Mays, Cantrell, Hartley, and Jeremiah Hatch in his first start of the new season and his first career start at right tackle. And he's trying to spin it outside as Angus Quigley. A little stiff arm for about 2 or 3, and I bring that up because you talked about it while we were away. We discussed the pocket protection. Reesing has not been touched all that often tonight.
Yeah, you got the 3 seniors inside starting for him. Starts with Ryan Cantrell there, and then Hartley and Mays on either side as guards, and then Hatch and Hatch and Spikes on the outside, both redshirt freshmen. How are they going to evolve, and how are they going to turn out as players here for this Kansas offense? You know, they're only going to be as good as that offensive line is offensively because it all starts there. They did a nice job today defensively, I think, against Louisiana Tech. When they did bring pressure, for the most part, they kept Todd Reesing pretty clean.
It'll be 2nd and 6. Quick one from Meyer at the sideline. He's close to the marker. Let's see where they put it. Looks like he's going to be just short. On the nose of the football on the 23. Bumped out by the free safety, Antonio Baker. Meyer is the backup quarterback, don't forget, behind Reesing. So if you're saying, well, let's take Reesing out, Meyer's on the field already. And they haven't gotten close, as we mentioned, to Reesing.
Yeah, he's been pretty clean back there, so I don't think there's much risk of him. And this is just their offense that they run. It's just they're going to take what the defense gives you. They're going to spread you out. They're going to read. They're going to see how many people you got in the box. For instance, they've got 6 players in the box right here. They'll run the ball against that. And that's what they do.
Quigley, man, carrying him with him across the 30. Out to the 31. He's got about 7 yards. He's buying some time, by the way, Angus Quigley. Jake Sharp started the game with Jock Crawford, but they've been very efficient on the ground with Angus Quigley running very hard. So the clock moves to the 7-minute mark. Just get out of here healthy, guys. Both sides. That's the key. It'll be 2nd and 3. Driving him back. Stacking him up. Mason Hitt, the sophomore from Baton Rouge. Now, the one thing everybody said, and you and I talked about it earlier last year, was the schedule for Kansas. Last year they missed Texas. They missed Texas Tech. And they missed Oklahoma. Now, these are their last 6 games. How tough are these last 6?
Well, you got those 3 guys right there. They're all ranked in the top 10 in the country currently, and I'm not sure that's going to change a whole lot here as this season moves along because they're pretty good football teams. But that is a tough schedule here for Kansas, and boy, if they can get through that without a whole lot of damage, that would be one heck of an effort by this team.
They need a yard. Meyer gets it. Can we go back to that panel because I just want to go over those 6 once again.
You just like the pain, don't you?
No, I want to figure out how many wins they can potentially get. Reesing, they've got a seasoned quarterback. Oklahoma at home. Bradford, his sophomore season, he threw for more yards than any freshman quarterback last year. You got Tech here.
I think the stretch there, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Nebraska, you're going to think consistently that Kansas is going to be in those ball games. And then the other 3, you've got Oklahoma, Texas, and Missouri. Those are the ones that are probably going to come down to the wire. Really, who's going to have the better day that day?
And remember, they hung 76 on Nebraska here. So they go to Nebraska. That's going to be more difficult than people think. Quigley lowering his shoulder. That was a serious collision. But you look at that last 6, and if they could go 4-2 in that last 6, that's not bad.
No, that's not a bad run at all. Those are pretty good football teams in there. This conference, top to bottom now, is really, especially the North, has really come alive. You know, the last few seasons, the North has not been the powerhouse, the juggernaut, but what Missouri did last year, what Kansas did last year, really set the table for the North to really be a more prominent figure in the landscape of college football.
It'll be 2nd and about 4. And we joked about it at the top of the telecast. Kansas, great basketball school, national champions. Little kick out for the wide receiver Meyer, and he got that block. Raymond Brown. So another first down as they move the chains to the 49. Another first down marker, all brought to you by Overstock.com. Shop with a company that supports college football. Overstock.com, at home with the O. And who would have believed just a few years ago, Gary Pinkel, 8th year at Missouri. Mark Mangino, 7th year. Missouri was a better basketball school than a football school over the last, say, 30 years because, well, take it to Norm Stewart. Norm Stewart had a nice run at Missouri. So I'm taking it a little bit too far back. But Kansas has always been solid in basketball. Now these 2 schools, all of a sudden, they're prominent football schools.
Well, they've got in both programs. They've got the basketball and the football programs going well. And what they've done, Joel, both similarly have both committed to facilities, committed to the football programs to do things. And, you know, Coach Self, he talked about it. He said football, look at it, it's a revenue sport. It's a tremendous revenue opportunity for the programs. And so it's a good investment to go into the football programs with some of your assets and your resources because they'll pay dividends in the long run, especially if you get good players in the house and you'll be able to win a lot of football games.
Yeah, and it's dramatic what has changed at Missouri, just like here at Kansas.
It's consistent.
When it comes to the compound, the actual facility itself. I mean, they've gone state of the art as well, just like Kansas, where before, go over to Brewer Fieldhouse in some of those areas, and it was back 50 years.
Well, you take a look down in the South, the Big 12 South, you look at the facilities there. Texas going to almost 100,000 in their stadium, 98,000. I was there last week, the largest ever crowd to watch a game in the state of Texas, and that was pretty impressive to see that many folks in the house. Texas A&M, always great facilities. OU, what they've got there in Oklahoma State, there's probably going to be none better than what's going to be being built with Boone Pickens Stadium there in Stillwater. So I tell you, it's an arms race. It really is in the Big 12 and all across the country to get facilities that are enticing to student athletes.
And guys, let's not forget the athletic directors that have stuck by these coaches and not made rash decisions to get another coach in. They've been patient, and it's paid off for both Kansas and Missouri. Yeah,
and Emily, as you chime in, the consistency, staying with what you're destined to do with the program and staying with that head coach. As opposed to 3 or 4 years later deciding, well, it's a bad year, it's a down year, even though there was a good year 2 years ago, we got to make a change again. Weldon Brown bringing down the Receiver taken in. Short first down with a penalty flag down.
Number 90, Mason Hicks.
You know, also consistency with these football programs and is really the consistency in their coaching staffs. You know, you've got the head guy there, but really the guys that are underneath that, the coordinator level and some of the key positions coaches, those guys being consistent.
50 offense, 10-yard penalty, replay third down.
It was during the play, so I got here in time Thursday night, and we're talking about Kansas and the improvement to the football program that nobody even 7 years ago when they won 2 games, Mark Mangino's first year, and I went to Hawk Talk because it was Mark Mangino's show.
Well, you've been there before, too.
I love this.
Well, remember early on? Hadn't you been there before? Seen the show before?
No, I had not seen the Mark's radio show, Hawk Talk, and it was good. It was entertaining. Well, they take emails and calls, and one was, are we going to put another deck on the football stadium like Texas? And he started laughing on air, and I was in the crowd watching. He said, he brought up the word consistency regularly, and he said, once the program has consistently been winners, then you can approach that and think about putting another deck on it quickly. Doing a good job trying to get to the marker, and he's right there, close to the first down. But I lived large for Hawk Talk on Thursday night here in Lawrence. Mark Mangino had a good time with the show.
He said they're going to start syndicating that show. I love it. It's good stuff.
So it's a first down quickly with the extra effort. Got to it. Final 3:13 and counting. We like coming to Lawrence and a lot of these Big 12 cities. They've got a good thing going.
You know, I'll tell you, just going down Massachusetts Street in downtown Lawrence and seeing all the revelry that's around here. You got a basketball program, won the national championship, and all the goods that are out there on the street and marketplace. Boy, look at the good run here by Quigley.
Yeah, Quigley's buying some more snaps next week, by the way. He's down inside the 25, the 22. Terry Carter on the stop, and Angus Quigley is their leading rusher tonight. Before that carry, he had 11 for 54. It's coming back, though, unfortunately.
Well, you got some reserve offensive linemen in the game here, but they're trying to get some experience. But Quigley as well. He
junior from Cleburne, Texas. He's got some good moves, doesn't he?
Well, he's powerful. You know, he'll lower his shoulder on you. He's also looks like he's got enough speed in the open field to make people miss and break tackles.
Yeah, he's big enough to get through at 6'2", 225. But he also, the quick feet, the way he's been shifting from side to side to make him miss. So now it's going to be 1st and 20 back at the 48. And we started this conversation a few snaps ago regarding Derek Dooley and the Louisiana Tech program. Going back to it, the original premise was give Derek Dooley time. It will happen at Louisiana Tech with the commitment. Quigley across the 50 down to the 49.
And being that he's the athletic director also now at Louisiana Tech, the only Division 1A head football coach and athletic director in college football. So, you know, he's right there. He understands what it's going to take to make the changes and the necessary changes to help Louisiana Tech grow as a program on the football side. But he also deals with all the other sports which have similar needs and wants. And so that's something that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out over Derek Dooley over the next 2 to 3 years with that program.
He's a really bright young guy. Brings a lot to Louisiana Tech. He's an attorney, graduate of the law school at Georgia. His wife is a doctor.
Yeah, his mother calls him, got a little pet nickname for him. I love it.
Yeah, Angus Quigley. What does his mom call him? He's got the first down.
She calls him Precious. You know what she says. That's good stuff. I love it.
Baker gets to Quigley finally, but it's another first down. They're just trying to run out the clock with a minute 36 to play.
Well, there's 20 seconds on the play clock. Is Todd Reesing going to snap that ball anytime soon? Probably not. Snapped it with 15.
Quigley has been their horse in the second half. And he's made the most of his chances. Well, our Polaris ATV toughest play of the game. Now try to catch up with this water bug. He's fast, and that's Livis, but Stuckey did it. Surprised us, didn't it?
I think Stuckey earns the right of being called the fastest man in the house tonight here in Lawrence. Tremendous speed coming from the far side of the field, nonetheless, to track down Livis, and tremendous effort there on the defensive play.
2nd and about 3. Final 40 seconds should be the last snap. And it will be.
And Stuckey, who was an honorable Big 12 all-conference selection, and probably raised a couple of points there in the eyes. And, you know, when coaches start seeing that kind of speed and talent, opposing coaches, I mean, they'll start looking at those potential honors.
So it's all over now, and it was a career night for Mark Mangino's quarterback, Todd Reese. 32 of 38, Gary, and he had a career best 412 yards.
Well, I talked about spreading the wealth around and spreading it around to different players, and they certainly did that tonight. Des Briscoe had a tremendous night. Again, Kerry Meyer also chipped in. Found a little run game there towards the end of the evening with what Quigley was doing for him. So I think that Mark Mangino was probably got to be pretty pleased with this football team offensively tonight, and the defense shined as well.
Yeah, he shared it. 7 guys caught balls from Todd Reese. Complete night offensively and defensively. We'll be right back to Lawrence.